Somebody should invent a guy who gets a full night's sleep. Have they invented that? Somebody needs to send me a link to that product. Oh, man. I blame all the Christmas food. I had a Christmas party, and I ate lots of tasty food, and of course that destroyed me. Then there was a second Christmas party. It never ends. Oh, thank you, love. Oh, could you set that down? On the phone. Yeah, on the phone. Excellent. Yes, very good. Thank you. You helped. Oh, hold on, wait, hold on. I'm putting facial moisturizer on so I can't actually see chat. I can't riff with chat if I can't see chat. You know? Guess despite your best efforts, we're not close enough to have that kind of bond. Can you believe we're at the end of the year? I can. Feels like we've been in this presidency for fucking 10 years. I think it's mostly because Biden's presidency didn't really do anything. So it just sort of feels like we're on year 10 of Trump. Biden did a lot like cover for genocide. Yeah, well, you know, nothing Trump wouldn't do too. Oh. Hello. Vosh can't see chat unless he's moist. When you're older, you'll understand. That's just how it is sometimes. You adequately moisturized now? Yeah, I'd say so. I miss Genocide Joe, not gonna lie. You prefer him to Genocide Don? What Biden didn't understand is that criticism is easier to deal with if it's thinly spread, you know? It's like with Trump, as long as you're getting attacked over everything, you're fine. With Biden, the Gaza stuff was really distractive. Bad move. Bad move. At least Biden wasn't doing Putin's bidding. You know what? I would argue that playing cover for Israel denigrated our position in the world order and international law in general in a way that pretty much served Russia's interests. Like, how can you get mad at Russia for invading Ukraine and then be like, nah, what Israel's doing is fine? How do you square that? You know? Not to mention Biden kept trying to keep Ukraine from striking refineries and such inside of Russia, which ended up being by far the most effective way for them to operate. Russia's taken advantage of a lot of it in its rhetoric. Makes sense. Makes sense. I believe it. Biden wasn't trying to ethnically cleanse America, at least. No, just Palestine. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. Is Zelensky pro-Palestine? Nah. But he kind of doesn't really have a choice because we all know that if Zelensky ever criticized Israel, America would immediately stop giving him money. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what he actually believes. Would this have happened if Mitt Romney had won in 2008? Well, Mitt Romney is probably also a huge Zionist, so, you know. Part-time streamer is back. What's interesting is that the Russian opposition is insanely Zionist, despite being pro-Ukraine. What do you mean, the Russian opposition? Look, for a lot of people, this is team sports. If you're pro-Russia, you're anti-Israel, not because you don't like genocide, but because Israel is West-coded. And if you like Israel, you tend to be anti-Russia. Like, it's team sports. because Israel's aligned with the West. Netanyahu gets along with Putin just fine. Pro-Russia, pro-Israel, very funny. Yes, the maximally Hitlerite position. A lot of Republicans believe in that, you know? Ugh. What a cursed family. Hope you enjoyed the holidays. Enjoying the holidays. We're not done with it, my friend. Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys. At least she lived just long enough to see every single artist who was scheduled to perform at the Kennedy Center cancel because it got renamed to the Trump and Kennedy Center. That's good, at least. The Cookers, a jazz supergroup that has performed together for nearly 2 decades, announced their withdrawal from a jazz New Year's Eve on their website, saying the decision has come together very quickly. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. The Cookers didn't mention the buildings for naming. Pussies! Massive pussies. Come on, man. Trump's already expended his political capital. It's not like they're going to get... It's not like they still have the ability to cancel people, you know? What a way to see your lineage be destroyed. They'll rename it back to the Kennedy Center after Trump's gone. Well, maybe they won't. We'll see how dickless the Democrats end up being. Certainly they should. Certainly eventually. Yeah. Some good news. Judge blocks White House's attempt to defund the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, ensuring employees get paid. Don't really care. They've been losing, like, literally every single court battle. If you keep up with them, like, every day, new news floods in, right? Every court battle, every single time a judge looks at anything. Look at what's on the front page of AP right now. DOJ pushed to prosecute Kilmar Abrego Garcia only after mistaken deportation, judge's orders say. This is whiplashing around. After like 57 attempts to deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia, they send him down to CICAT, they bring him back up, you know, they say nothing's happening to him, then they start prosecuting him as soon as he comes back to the States. He will never be in the United States again. Then he is in the United States, then they're going to send him to a different country, blah, 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 over and over and over and over again. And now they're finally, you know, federal courts seemingly are giving him ammunition to turn back on the DOJ. A newly unsealed order in the criminal case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia reveals that high-level Justice Department officials pushed for his indictment, calling it a top priority only after he was mistakenly deported and then ordered returned to the U.S. So obviously they only did it as a way of compensating for the embarrassment of having to bring him back from CICAT and not because they had an ongoing investigation against him, right? I mean, we knew that, of course, but it was nice of them to leave it in writing. Israel's like 15% Russian-born residents, over like 30% of their kids still speak Russian. Well, yeah, there are a lot of Russian Jews, you know. A lot of Jews fled east during World War II. Not that they were treated great by Stalin, but, you know. Also, Russia and Israel are both Hitlerites, so of course they get along. U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw. You can't just call them Crenshaw, okay? That's confusing. Total bullshit. Huh? Oh, open my fucking Valheim server for a second. I stopped paying for that like a year ago. You got a Valheim server? Not anymore. I did. Valheim fell off. You know what's fucked up? The more you explore a server in multiplayer, the way it works is that when a player loads an area by walking into it, all of the data for that area is hosted locally on their fucking connection. Which means that if you're playing with 2 or 3 other people and they have slower computers, you lag the entire fucking server. It's insane. Like, what's the point in purchasing a private server if you're still going to have the connection speed dependent on the quality of the computers of the people running around? Why the fuck is that hosted locally? Had to stop playing just because of the lag. Me when P2P. Me when P2P in like a fucking open world survival crafting game. Honestly. Nice nuts. That shit slaps. Huh? I played in a popular 40-plus person server. It was always smooth as fuck. I wonder if there's a way to preload everything in the server so that if it's P2P, you're basically getting all your info from like the dedicated server as opposed to it being hosted locally. I don't really know. I don't really know. I'm not a net coding kind of guy, or in fact, a tech kind of guy. You know, I don't know anything about anything, to be honest. I don't know why you people listen to me. Could be the way they set it up. I believe they own their own hardware. I'm not a guy kind of guy. That's true. Why are there links here already? Mamdani picks his mentor, the woke radical anti-Israel YouTuber Miss Rachel. This rules. I really appreciate the fact that, because again, all Zionists can do is browbeat. Zionists are like a unique subgroup of conservatives where the conservatives are capable, at least like selectively, of being funny or culturally innovative. Like sometimes you'll see them catch like a new talking point. They'll make something up. Zionists are utterly uncreative. They can't really produce anything. So all they do is they beat you with the stick. Beat, 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 beat. Everything you do is anti-Semitic. I really appreciate that they've turned so much attention against Mitch Rachel. Do you have any idea how psychotic you have to come across to like the general public deciding this is the hill you're going to die on? Insane. But they've really committed to it. I don't know why. The thing that confuses me about Zionists is that they don't abandon a strategy when it's clear that it's not working. Like, every single time Americans are polled in their support for Israel, it's going down. What they're doing is not working. Not even a little bit. But they still do it. Like, they don't adjust tactics at all. Very Trumpian of them. Yeah, but the Trump stuff worked for a while. There were periods of time where Trump's rhetoric worked. Thinking about Dershowitz and the pierogi stand, yeah, no, it's like a one-trick pony, except it's been 20 years. They don't stop. I don't understand. The line does not concern itself with public sentiment. Turning the big red dial, labeled browbeating, but not looking back to the audience to see how they're reacting to it. Everyone's gotten up and left. I seen people become more anti-Semitic when the Miss Rachel thing happened. Yeah, well, all the modern, the contemporary wave of anti-Semitism, which is only going to get worse over time, is entirely, and I'm when I say entirely here, I don't want to oversimplify, 99% at the feet of Zionists. You know, like they took what was otherwise a marginal internet conspiracy that had some traction, but we're talking like flat Earth, QAnon stuff largely derided, degraded. They turned it into a household talking point. They turned it into something young people earnestly discuss with one another. And they did it by doing every fucking thing you could possibly do to incite anti-Semitism. What is this? Woke, radical, anti-Israel YouTuber Miss Rachel? Miss Rachel being one of the anti-Semites of the year? Yep. Nothing makes the JQ look less real than every single vestige of legacy media rearing up to express a deranged level of contempt for the nicest people in the world merely for being critical of Israel's military policy. You know? If you don't know, she's like a kids YouTuber. She does like kids rhyming. She's like a, you know, like Mr. Rogers. Like Miss Rachel, Mr. Rogers. You get it. I know who she is. That's great. Not everyone watching does. Develop a theory of mind, you infant. I know who she is. Do you think I care whether you know? I already know this. This information isn't new to me. I have no idea who she is. Well, you're probably not a 2-year-old. 18.3 million subscribers. God damn. Just a few more than me. Throughout the mayor-elect's campaign, much attention has been paid to Mamdani's anti-Jewish sentiment, from his refusal to condemn such phrases as globalize the Intifada to his affiliation with known supporters of terrorism like Imam Siraj Wahaj, whom federal prosecutors named an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. These decisions speak volumes about Mamdani's moral character, but his selection of Miss Rachel is more troubling still. It shows not only Jews, but New Yorkers of all persuasions that their new mayor's inner circle is populated, not by seasoned and serious adults passionate about governing, but by influencers best known for their rendition of Wheels on the Bus. Wonderful stuff. Who's reading this shit? I don't know. The comments are probably full of people making fun of, Actually, these comments seem unrelated. Probably bots. Probably bots. It's the New York Post. Do they think New York is just, excuse me, Jews or something? The thing that confounds me is that I thought for the longest time that these Zionist attacks were a cynical way for corporate Democrats and conservatives to attack progressives using IDPOL as like a shield, right? But the fact that they've continued to use this rhetoric, even as it doesn't work, over and over and over and over and over again, makes me worry that a lot of these people are actually like Kool-Aid drinkers. Like they actually believe it. Like they actually are that crazy. They are that deranged. Which is horrifying. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. You hear Trump's getting the Israel award? That's real, by the way. That's real. Why not Joe Biden? Well, Trump likes awards more. He would better appreciate it, you know? Trump and Netanyahu met just the other day.
The president of Israel needs to give the prime minister
A pardon? I think he will. How do you not? He's a wartime prime minister who's a hero. How do you not give a pardon? You know, I think it's a very hard thing not to do it. I spoke to the president, and it's on. I mean, he tells me it's on its way.
Mr. President,
Can't do better than that.
I think Netanyahu's popularity is actually increasing right now. because like the main problems with him, I guess, in the eyes of the Israeli population was one, he's openly corrupt, and two, security failings led to October 7th. But October 7th happened a while ago, and I think that over time the Israeli people are just more pro-corruption. They've just gotten more evil. The data supports this conclusion. So yeah, I don't know. His party did well recently.
Mr. President, can you expound on the importance of a strong relationship with the State of Israel? And Mr. Prime Minister, you called President Trump the strongest friend for the State of Israel. You worked with numerous administrations, numerous presidents. Can you expound on that and what makes President Trump such a strong friend for the State of Israel?
Why don't you go first?
I'll say it again and again and again. We've never had a friend like President Trump in the White House. It's not even close.
So cool.
And I think you can judge that by not merely by the frequency of our meetings, but by the content and the intensity. I think Israel is very blessed to have President Trump leading.
All the Nazis seething watching Trump capitulate to Israel. I think a not insignificant portion of the 18 to 29 age demographic switching away from Trump is from very far right or extremist young people who have turned away from Trump because they view him as a compromise candidate. You know, not all of it, but like a pretty significant portion of it is that, for sure.
The United States, and I'll say leading the free world at this time. I think it's not merely Israel's great fortune. I think it's the world's great fortune.
Well, I just want to say that it's very important who the Prime Minister and President of Israel is. We have a great relationship. It was an honor to speak before your leaders. That was a great honor for me. I think it has not happened before, or something they told me. But the relationship's been extraordinary, and Bibi's a strong man. He can be very difficult on occasion, but you need a strong man. If you had a weak man, you wouldn't have Israel right now. Israel would have been, you know, Israel with most other leaders would not exist today. They would not exist. And now there's
Israelis are some of the worst people ever. They made the whole of Barcelona and Naples heavily anti-Semitic. Yeah, if there is going to be a Fourth Reich, it's going to form along the entire northern coast of the Mediterranean, from every town and tourist destination that Israelis have visited over the past, like, you know, couple of years. Because every guy, there are so many videos out there of Israeli tourists visiting fucking Italy, France, Spain, whatever, just being the most awful, belligerent fucking people, you know?
stronger than ever. Yeah, please.
No Israeli signs? We're getting to that point, man. We're getting to that point. Oh, here's the Israel prize. Yes!
You've been a great friend, and I've been a great friend to you.
A good prize for a good boy.
It's been my honor. And the award that I was given was really surprising and very much appreciated.
Well, President Trump has broken so many conventions to the surprise of people, and then they figure out, oh, well, maybe, you know, he was right after all. So we decided to break a convention too, or create a new one, and that is to award the Israel Prize, which in almost our 80 years, we've never awarded it to a non-Israeli. And we're going to award it
the Expedition 33 Award
to President Trump. We're
giving Trump our highest honor, Indie Game of the Year Award.
Announced formally over lunch by our Minister of Education, who's responsible for the Israel Prize. It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel in that occasion on our Independence Day. But I have to say that this reflects the...
Recently, one of the guys accused of receiving money from Qatar while working in Bibi's office did an interview, and he pretty much confirmed what we already knew, that Bibi and his entire administration is operating like the mob. Yeah, I mean, they're horrendously corrupt. So, of course, is our administration. It seems like there won't really be any consequences to it, so, you know, whatever. Remember the last time we streamed? We were reading up on the backsliding of rights. They're introducing fucking Jewish Sharia courts for civil disputes, not just for marriage or religious disputes or whatever. They're doing it for financial matters too. Crazy.
Overwhelming sentiment of Israelis across the spectrum. They appreciate
rabbinical
what you've
courts.
done
Thank you.
to help Israel and to help our common battle against the terrorists and those who would destroy our civilization. So, again, that's an expression of thanks.
USS Liberty on one. The USS Liberty ship pisses me off because it's like the worst example of Israel being belligerent and hostile to America's foreign interests. Like, everything Israel has done for the past 25 to 30 years is like it's broad as daylight. And then it's like, well, did you know 60 years ago that in the fog of war, Israel like fired on a ship they may have known was an American ship? Like, I don't know, fucking maybe. If we're going back 60 years, look at what we were doing in like Italy or fuck the rest of Western Europe, you know? It's just a weak example. It's just a weak example. You know, people fixate on it because I think because USS Liberty just sounds really punchy. But there's so goddamn much evidence.
And appreciation.
Thank you, baby, very much. That really is a great honor.
The fucking Israel Award. Jesus.
Will you support an attack, Israeli attack on Iran if Iran will not have a deal? If Iran will continue with their ballistic missiles and also nuclear weapons?
If they will continue with the missiles, yes. The nuclear, fast.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. It's so cute how they wore matching outfits. You know what's fucked up? Trump doesn't give a single fuck about Israel. Yeah, of course not. But he does care about getting like awards and compliments and stuff. So he's getting what he wants. You know. Look, it's not just America and Israel, dude. Keep in mind that like every single Western European nation is still too pussy to call out Israel. They won't even call out Trump. Like every country in the world, like we all know all of them hate Trump. And they're still so terrified of the consequences of speaking out against him. When we all know perfectly well that if the European Union said, nah, fuck you, like we're not dealing with this shit, you can tariff us if you want, and then just increase not domestic, but like intra-EU trade, they would fuck America way worse than they would get hurt. You know? They could work with China. They could build an economic bloc that completely ices us out. But, you know, it's appeasement. It's always appeasement. Canada's spoken out against Trump? Nah. Canadian fucking premiers, what are they? They're governors? They've spoken out. Provincial leaders, they've spoken out against Trump. But Mark Carney, as soon as he got sworn in, Mark Carney backed off. It's weird because the sentiment of the people is way harsher than what the government response usually is. Well, yeah, I mean, like, the governments of Spain and Italy are tepidly anti-Israel. The populations of Spain and Italy would, like, be open to a crusade if directed, you know? You could bring back, like, the old crusades, like the children's, you know? Just march the entire population of Italy up around the Mediterranean, down. Oh, it'd be horrible. It'd be a bloodbath. 90% of them would die. Yeah, half the population of Ireland would attempt to swim across 2 channels if it meant getting to Israel. The EU is literally pushing out Visa and American payment processors. Yeah, but then why don't they say anything? You know? Listen, all I'm saying is, it really cuts into the rest of the world's ability to sneer at us during our great century of American humiliation when your leaders are too cowardly to say what literally everyone in your country believes, which is that we have gone insane. Like there are many things that our leaders won't commit on or won't say because these are 60-40 or 65-35 issues or whatever. But on whether or not America has lost its mind and Trump is like a threat to global civilization, this is like a 90-10 issue in most of the world, and your leaders still can't say shit. So I'm just saying, like, that you can't really aura farm off of that. You're not. I don't know if America's really in a century of humiliation yet, though. Have you tried buying anything on a foreign market lately? The US dollar is down like 15% compared to the beginning of the year. Like 13 or something? I was taking a look at the yen conversion rate. Yeesh! Thank God I went to Tokyo when I did. Back when the exchange rate was favorable. Right now, I'd be getting fleeced if I went over there. I'm supposed to be going there in March. What's that hat? You need to get the Japanese version of that hat. I am fleeing the American Century of Humiliation. Can you please direct me to your nearest Baja Blast vending machine or something to that effect? Where is the white monster? Yeah. Would you go on Trash Taste if invited? I don't know what that is, but I do have Trash Taste, so I feel like my input would be valuable. Is EU not kind of dealing with a problem of far-right parties that love throating American talking points? They love throating American talking points, but I think you'll find the average supporter of reform or the AFD is still not like pro-America, really. There's a diversity of opinions here, but we're talking like 30 to 40% of the population, and then even within that percent of the population, a lot of them still hate America for their own reasons. Even if they've all adopted the talking points. Do you think the EU should federalize? Hasn't it? What do you mean? Are they not? I think they mean like form into one country. Oh. Nah, probably not. I'm still not sure if it's a good thing that they all use the euro, you know? The fact that you all share one currency, but you can't have one financial, like your different countries can't have different monetary policies, so you're kind of stuck with like the EU central printing mechanism. I don't know. I don't know. It's complicated. There are benefits and there are losses. The differences aren't as big as the differences within U.S. states economically. That's true. It's complicated. It's complicated. I don't know. They should all use the Chinese yuan. Not a terrible idea. China doesn't want the world to trade in their currency, though. Well, yeah, it would cut into their if China became if the yuan became the global reserve currency, it would cut into their ability to be like a domestic manufacturing base, you know? America's current status as like the world economic hegemon right now is built almost entirely on our being the global reserve currency and the fact that we're the center of global financialization. But that's not like a permanent thing. it could very well be the case that within 10, 20, 30 years, another country could be the hotspot for financial bullshit. Like, over time, more and more of this stuff has been moved into, like, the Cayman Islands, for example, you know? Like, as people get increasingly greedy, they want to move more and more of their stuff off market. I wonder, like, eventually somebody's going to open a stock exchange off the Cayman Islands, and it's going to end up being 90% of the global GDP. Like, nothing's going to actually be produced there, mind you, but all the money's gonna flow around there like a big vortex, sucking it out of other nations. They already have a stock exchange? Oh, okay. Well, it'll get bigger. Maybe. It could be. We're geographically blessed to be hegemon, though? Nah, that's so 20th century. Yeah, America's tough to invade, but there are fucking nukes now. You know, that's not... That's during the age of sail, that's more of a point. But now it's mostly just a global capital and where the chips fall. I mean, we are blessed. Of course we are. We're American. There's more money flowing through family offices than Wall Street, Vosh? I don't believe that's true. If you take the total evaluation of everything on Wall Street, all of the money held in stocks, I'm pretty sure that vastly exceeds the total money supply that has velocity, that is moving through like family business or whatever. And we've done the math on this before if you take a look at the different money supplies, but like a lot of the money is just not getting used in the day-to-day economy. Wall Street's worth 59 trillion. It's fucking crazy how all of that is just bullshit. Is Wall Street money even real money though? Yes, that's the fucked up thing. It is. It should be swimming around with us, and instead it's all sitting in a bubble. It's fucked up. Oh, I'm sorry. By family office, you didn't mean like family-owned businesses. You meant wealthy families launching their own investment firms? Okay, that's not... I don't know if that necessarily speaks to my point about the financialization of the economy. This is also financialization of the economy. Good old family private equity, yeah. I don't have a Wall Street Journal account. $13.75 a week, honestly. Ugh. This is my least favorite topic. Talk about pedophiles or something. But pedophilia is created by financialization. Kind of, a little bit, okay? There are two kinds of pedophilia, all right? There's Appalachian pedophilia, which is your fat, alcoholic, abusive dad type of pedophilia, right? And then there's aristocracy pedophilia, and that goes back forever, you know. You have like the French aristocracy, you have the pharaohs, whatever. That's when you have a small upper crust of society, elites who are maniacal sociopaths, and they feel the only way to express their infinite power is to engage in every, a cornucopia of sin, which of course includes your little St. James, your Epstein Island bullshit. Okay, financialization. This shit is like a pedophilia factory. Okay. They're churning this out, like they're printing it like the Fed prints money. We need to shut it down. Yeah, the two schools of pedophilia, like ancient karate dojos. Long have they been at war? Speaking of, was it Bezos who had a birthday party the other day? Yes. No, it wasn't birthday. It was New Year's celebration. I'm telling you, man, it's a pedophilia printer. No, it's somebody's birthday. Is this pedophilia? Well, to quote somebody else on Twitter, being the second wealthiest man in the world and still partying like a used car salesman who just closed a merger with a neighboring firm. Jesus Christ, look at this. Is he even having fun? That's the crazy thing. It looks lame as fuck. I have a feeling that these wealthy elites engage in a lot of performatively opulent behavior. Do you think they're not even into the pedophilia? Like they're at Epstein's Island and they're in the corner. And they're thinking like, man, my feet hurt. The music's too loud. I could be at home playing video games. And then Jeffrey Epstein walks up and he's like, come on, we got a girl for you in the back. And you're like, ugh, I don't want to be uncool. Probably like 50% of them. Not that it's going to save them from the fires of hell. Yeah. What the fuck do I title this? Israel / pedophilia rambles. Two very related topics. You all know Israel's pedophilic? We all know that, right? There were op-eds coming out on that before October 7th even. American sex offenders or people with dual citizenship, going over there. What is the age of consent there? It's not about the age of consent there. It's the fact that if you're a Jew, it's really easy to get dual citizenship, so it's an easy country to fly to. And also the government there will protect you from extradition. Also, like, American law enforcement doesn't want to go after or demand extradition from Israeli nationals because of the whole US-Israel relationship thing, where we pretend that we're cucked by them 24/7. Be careful, please. About what? The claim that Israel is innately pedophilic? That's just hard science, my friend. I don't know what to say. How do you feel about Gabe Newell's yacht costing like 200 million? I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a shit. Gabe Newell can do whatever he wants. As long as he's alive and happy, Steam stays not dog shit. As soon as he dies, it goes to dog shit. As far as I'm concerned, he gets to ride that off to the sunset. God bless him. Isn't he turning it into like a research vessel? Is he? That's pretty cool. Working with the team at Ocean Co. Da-da-da, da-da-da. The yard suggests the... God fucking damn it. The yacht's engagement in scientific research and discovery meant there would be innovative technologies. Okay. So he's he's building like a science platform out there in the ocean. Cool, man. Whatever. He's having fun with it. I need to go to a doctor about my cough. This shit fucking sucks, man. Get health insurance first. Buddy, do you have any idea how expensive Obamacare, like open marketplace health insurance plans are going to be starting in 2 days? Well, you think I qualify for Medicaid? If I got health insurance, it wouldn't be through an employer, and it wouldn't be through Medicaid, and it certainly wouldn't be through Medicare. I'd be paying like $2,000 a month. Fuck that. It's actually, I'm going to be saving money going to the doctor time in, time out. Not being insured. How much would a doctor visit be for someone like you? Are you American? If you were, then you would know that doctor's visits cost a random amount of money for everyone. I'm not? Okay, well, that's why you don't know. If you go and any medical service, anything, you go to a hospital, doctor's office, whatever, the amount they charge you afterwards is random. It's just what they feel like. I'm basically not joking. Yeah, between $100 and $20K. Whether or not your insurance covers anything, that's random. I dealt with a cough for over a year, had a bunch of pulmonary testing, just need to switch to a new antacid for my reflux, and it was instantly fixed. Yeah, it's definitely a GERD thing. It's just, I've tried, you know? I've tried the antacids. You know, like you're taking Tums or whatever. Maybe I need a prescription thing. How do you people survive the 70? Employer-based health insurance, usually. Vosh, you take ADHD meds, you go to a doctor. Don't worry about it. I haven't seen a doctor in a while. I hate doctor's visits. I hate the whole fuck. I'm putting the whole system on trial. I hate those goddamn. It's the doctor's visits are so fucking unproductive. You have to go in there and tell them what they're going to do to you. You know? Like, pardon me for my old-fashioned way of thinking, for my naivete. I thought the point of a doctor was you go in and you describe your symptoms, and then they use their extensive medical expertise to try to suggest a plan to help heal you. You know, whatever medicine, tests you need. But in reality, what happens is every doctor on Earth is a belligerent jackass. They might be smart, but they're still a belligerent jackass, okay? And in the moment you walk in there, they decide what's wrong with you. If you're fat, it's because you're fat. It literally doesn't matter what's wrong with you. You could be hit by a car. You walk in there, you're fat. The problem is that you're fat. For me, I have no idea. It's probably a different doctor. They see me, they say like, oh, this guy's got a little, this guy's, you know, posture is wrong or something. This guy doesn't get enough sunlight. Look at how pale he is. It could be anything, you know? But as soon as they decide that, if you leave them to their own devices, they're going to come up with some insane fucking like, wait 6 months and try this out. Then maybe after you're done with that, we can try looking at the potential problems that you've suggested. You know? Oh, we can look into your symptoms, but first, I just have a vibe about you. You know? You have to go into the doctor's office and say, these are my symptoms. I think it's this. This is what I want done. And then you have to say, the condition I am experiencing is impeding my life and my ability to work. That's all you can do. You have to like probe them with a stick. And it's fucked up because I don't want to tell them how to, they know more than me about medicine. I don't want to like pretend that I did some Googling and I think I know what it is. You know, they probably know more than me, but maybe they fucking don't. Because like all the shit they learned in medical school got replaced over time by this calloused cynicism where they dealt with too many hypochondriacs. So now when you go in and you have an actual issue, they think you're just trying to get some oxy or whatever. That's in large part because of how insurance works. Yeah, I know. It's one of the reasons I don't have insurance. You go in there, you're like, yeah, I'm uninsured. Here's my briefcase full of cash. Please take 6 months of my work away from me. Now, will you please tell me if I have tonsillitis? Dunning-Kruger a bit, Vosh, or hypochondriac. If you're not American or if you're too young to know what I'm talking about, then you just have to accept my word on this, okay? I am speaking the truth here. As an American, if you go into a doctor's office and you just meekly go with the flow with what they suggest, you will often bleed so much time and money. You will be going for visit after visit after visit as they run through their like standard care checklist, ignoring symptoms selectively or inventing new ones, asking probing questions. You have to be assertive. Yeah, they will literally spend years doing this. It's not even because they're trying to string you out for money. It's because a lot of them are they just refuse to update their priors. You know? Yeah, not to mention you only get to talk to them for 5 minutes. You book a doctor's appointment from 12 to 12:40 and you get there at 11:45 and you're in the waiting room or you finally get let into the room like 15 minutes late and then you wait there and then the nurse sees you. You only get to talk to the doctor for like 5 minutes, you know? Hard to even get everything across in that time. You basically have to have it written down. But if you have it written down, that makes you look like a hypochondriac. Because if you over prepare for a doctor's appointment, now you're giving the impression that you're following a script that you've been given to maximize the likelihood of you getting, I don't know, whatever drug or whatever bullshit you think you need, you know? Not if you're not asking for drugs. It didn't happen to me, but I know personally people who were not given an ADHD diagnosis and medicine because they described the symptoms of their ADHD too well. They went in there and they were like, here's everything I think I'm experiencing. I think the symptoms point to a very, very clear diagnosis. And the doctor's like, I don't know. I think you might just be a little retarded. Take this, hand them like a Ritz cracker or something. It's a fucking joke. That happened to me the first time. It happened to a lot of people. It's like doctors will follow the script when it's most inconvenient for you. But then when it would be convenient to you for them to follow the script, that's when you get the crank. And the crank is like, no, I have my own theory on this. Nice, Pasaigo. At least it wasn't about Japan this time. I had to spend 2 hours across 3 different phone calls to my insurance company to get them to cover my annual physical. Ugh. And who knows how much your annual physical is now, right? Maybe it was 100 last time, could be 300 this time. Who the fuck knows? I haven't had a physical in ages. I kind of don't want to get a physical until I'm done with my new calisthenics arc because I want to mog them. Like, they have my charts, you know? I was up to 290 pounds for a while. So I want to see that arc, you know? Like, I was in shape in high school, and then I got fat after college, and then I get in shape again. I want to be able to do an L-sit in front of the doctor. Is that a realistic goal? Like, I bring my little, like, the push-up handles, and I'm like, all right, doc, check this out. And I'm like fucking compressing my core, holding my legs up. These charts, they say you're goated as shit. Yeah. Bring your Peloton. All right, doc. So, that's pretty good, right? Nice. 300 watts. Sure, Vosh, but the doctor's still going to say you're retarded. Good. That means they know what they're talking about. What's your prediction for U.S. life expectancy after 4 more years of Republican rule? I'm not going to lie. At this point, I really don't think the Democrats are going to be able to save this sinking ship either. Everything is fucked. Medicaid is fucked. Medicare is fucked. The insurance system is fucked. Social Security is fucked. Every entitlement program, like we fucking like dodged, we ducked out of the way of building a proper entitlement program on every level. Like Medicaid and Medicare are both versions of what if the government just gave insurance companies infinite money? And Social Security's fucking fake. What, Social Security? You have to pay in to get out? Why don't people just get it out? Like, why not just fold Social Security taxes into the regular tax base? Why the fuck does that cut off at like $134,000 a year? Just tax people more, and then after a given age, people just get paid out from the government. Social Security is fucking stupid. Look at Israel, one of the highest life expectancies in the world and one of the least expensive. They get free healthcare, by the way. Wonder how they can afford that. That's so interesting. Speaking of shipping absolutely fucked, did you see Japan had around 670,000 births this year? Yeah, that's fucking grim. 670,000, that's nothing for a country of that size. Really, that sounds like a lot? It's not, trust me. And this is before COVID? Yeah, it's going to go down. Well, everyone's going to go down because of COVID, but, you know, whatever. You want my real, like, red pill take that I've been developing over years, and now I'm really getting into, especially now that I'm watching YouTube videos of men who are much more fit than me doing, like, stretches or whatever. Japan's sky-high health expectancy and its efficiency relative to its how much money they put into it has nothing to do with the efficiency of their health insurance system or their medical care or whatever, and more to do with the fact that they're just like generally healthier people. They sit on the floor, they sleep on the floor, they eat rice and fish. They walk around. Actually makes a huge difference, you know? Yeah, diet and walking, man. Diet and walking. Is sleeping on the floor better? Yeah. As a general rule, and I'm not trying to engage in like a natural fallacy or whatever, but the closer you are to doing it the way that pre-modern humans did it, probably better for you. Like their diets had very little carbohydrates, mostly like foraged berries and meat. That's better for you. In general, that's better for you. You know, we didn't really grow up like as a species sleeping on plush mattresses. You know, we slept on relatively hard surfaces. It's better for your back. But bread is so good? Yes, it is. Reese's peanut butter cups are fucking delicious. Yeah, yeah. They also had scurvy? No. Sailors had scurvy because they couldn't pack, you know, citrus fruits or whatever on long voyages because they'd spoil. That was their tough, you know. I don't think that pre-modern humans had scurvy because they would forage the damn berries. Japan has modern beds and tables and shit. Yeah, they do. But traditionally, they sleep and they sit on the floor and stuff. You know, they're what are they called? Kontetsus or whatever? Everyone sits on the ground. You know, the average American probably couldn't even use one of those. Do you think the average American can sit on the ground with their legs together and out, like in an L shape? Because that shit's actually, like, pretty tough, unless you stretch regularly. Got, like, those floor stools. Americans literally can't fully squat. This is my claim here. I'm not trying to like mog or shame or whatever, but there was a time not long ago where on stream I demonstrated that I can squat all the way to the ground with my feet firmly planted and I can keep my balance like that. Like I can just normally squat like that. And there were people in chat being like, "Oh my God, you can do that?" So I'm not shaming the people who can't do that. And I do think it's a low bar, but like, there's a reason our line is here. All I can say is this. If I went to Japan, I bet you everyone could do that. I bet you everyone could do that. In my opinion. Every 2 in 3 is obese in this U.S. town. Every 2 in 3? What the fuck are you showing me here? What are you showing me? What is this thumbnail? What are you showing me? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. $18 million views. This is what the people care about.
This is McAllen, the most obese city in the world. Here, nearly 1 in every 2 people in a mall in the city center. If you leave your house and walk, it takes about 2 hours to reach them. By car, it still takes around 20 minutes.
I think the average is that most people spend less than 20 minutes a day exercising. So very high amounts of food, very low amounts of exercise.
How many?
Said 260.
Butter on each of these, which adds, extra calories.
Regular shepherding.
It's just Denny's.
How many calories are these in total?
Diseases. Because I started the day with very sugary meals, my insulin spiked and then crashed, causing my energy to drop and making me hungry again within an hour. We're ordering what the locals are having once more.
It is true that the deep state does want you to live like this, Israel wants you to live in an unwalkable exurb where the only food you can access is like 2,000 calorie slop drive-thrus. They do want you to be fat. They do. Yeah, absolutely.
Inside a heart-shaped icon, but the product actually increases the risk of heart disease. With colorful packaging, these ultra-processed cereals are heavily marketed to children.
Look at these foam plates. They put a meal here, but this meal is unhealthy. Hamburger and smells inviting.
He's pouring out the mix. Whipped cream adds extra calories. Meanwhile, the chicken soaked up the oil like a sponge while frying. The mac and cheese Nick prepared earlier is also done.
I have been paying attention. What city America is this? Every city?
His brain was still seeking dopamine, and food became the substitute.
This eating thing is not even filling that hole I once had with the drugs. Got obsessed with getting free food from.
Well, I'm sorry. Did they add like Godzilla stomping noises when he walks?
Food addiction grew so severe that he was manipulating the apps just to eat when he couldn't afford it.
I got obsessed with.
Maybe not. Maybe that's just the actual footfall. I don't really know. It'd be pretty funny if they added that though.
I want to thank you personally. Help me share my story.
Today, I ate like a local in McAllen, and in just 9 hours, I consumed 9,825 calories. If I ate like this every single day for a month and kept my activity level the same, I would gain about 40 pounds.
obesity in McAllen isn't just about food, it's about culture, economy, and of course, city planning. A healthier future for McAllen will depend not.
I don't know. This video kind of seems a little bit fine. Like it's obviously gross to run around a town and be like, oh, look at these fatties, like, and the thumbnail is disgusting in terms of what it's trying to elicit. So like the framing is bad, but I guess like the easiest thing to do would be to make this video and go like, haha, these people are gross. But for the most part, it seems like the prescriptions here are more institutional, a little bit more systematic. But I thought we should hate these exurb-ruroids more. Well, I don't know the actual demographics of the community in terms of who's more Democrat or Republican, but we should hate them for their political views, not for like being fat. People, listen, liberalism and the myth of individual responsibility is like the biggest cope and the biggest mental disease in the world, okay? People will predictably, as a population, respond to the conditions of the environment that you place them in, okay? Like, It's not like every single fucking Japanese person is more disciplined than every single American or whatever. A lot of these fat fucks in this video are probably working construction jobs. They're out there breaking their back for like 12 hours a day or whatever. It's not that they can't work hard. It's that the Japanese guy is living on fish and rice and gets to walk around this cute, weird Japanese city. And, you know, everyone's, oh, I'm walking here, I'm walking there. I sleep on the ground. I sit on the floor, whatever. I stretch. I'm doing exercise. Over here, everyone's driving around you fucking drive through here, drive through there. People respond to the conditions you place them in. In this respect, we're no different than ant colonies or mice or whatever, you know?
Not just on individual choices, but also on the actions taken by local authorities. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.
A gallon of Coca-Cola doesn't help also? At this point, I abandon democracy entirely. I just think we need the prohibition again. Prohibition worked. That's what everyone's too afraid to say. The prohibition era did decrease alcohol consumption considerably and permanently. Even after prohibition was revoked, there was a decrease, okay? What we need is an overwhelming wave of sin taxes, okay? I assume this is sarcasm? No. You believe in prohibition but not gun control? Yes. I believe in gun control. What the fuck? Are there really mole people in LA? Yeah. That's Las Vegas, though, not LA. But, yeah. Are you still in favor of making all drugs legal? Yes. I live with and take care of my grandma, who's now 88. Your grandma's 88? Pretty suspicious. You had a talk with her recently? What YouTuber she's been watching? So I can buy heroin but not white monsters? Bosh, what the fuck? Come on, we're not engaging in this level of, like, political illiteracy, right? I don't think people should be arrested for having a Diet Coke on their person. I just think that we need to systematically deprioritize its production. We need to disincentivize people from consuming it. Look at what we did with cigarettes. Sin taxes on cigarettes have probably contributed significantly to the decrease in smoking. Now everyone smokes weed or vapes or whatever. Why? Because that shit's cheap. Make it expensive. Prohibitively expensive. Yeah, Diet Coke's fine. What's wrong with Diet Soda? Diet Soda's fine, I think. No, it's not, Lamau. What's wrong with Diet Soda? Aspartame? They haven't found anything negative with it yet. I don't think the Diet Soda is bad for your body. I do think that it's bad for your spirit. You should be able to drink a cool, crisp glass of water and enjoy it. You know, you should be able to take that down and be like, ah, at the end of it. But some of you people are so you're mainlining. You're having fucking Diet Soda, which would taste insane to any human born before like 1900. You're just mainlining that shit. You're having like 4 cans of it a day. You're having it in the morning. That's insane. I think you're oversaturating your body, you know? You're probably going to make everything else taste like shit. Dude, I was staying with my cousins. They legit grabbed a Diet Coke as their first drink in the morning. I was astounded. Yeah, that's insane to me. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. That's got to tear you apart. That's more for caffeine. Well, you shouldn't have too much caffeine. Been visited. Whoa. Why do you have a butt? Why are you showing your butt? That's gross. Right. 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 Even fruit juice is crazy high in sugar? Well, do you mean like real fruit juice, or do you mean fruit juice, which you can buy at the store? I mean, there's still sugar in natural fruit, of course, but it's different. River. There we go. How is it different? Because there's less of it. That's all. If you have orange juice, as in it's literally like squeezed oranges, you know, there's sugar in it. Fruit's got sugar in it, natural sugars. But if you get orange juice at a store, you know, it's probably it's way more sugar. They dump a lot of that in there. An ironic question, do you see soda in the morning different from sugary coffee? I think the carbonation is more spiritually damaging, but yeah, I do think that if people are having like a gigantic sugary fake latte or whatever in the morning, they're basically just having like a milkshake, you know? I don't think that's good. It's not even coffee. I don't know why we call it coffee. Just drink a thimble of espresso. That's all I have now. I just have a double espresso every morning. Okay, is green tea with honey batter good? What do you... What is this? First of all, I'm not a nutrition guy. Second of all, what do you mean is green tea with honey batter good? You're fine. Do you remember what we were just looking at in this YouTube video? What are you comparing yourself to? Okay, we're just this is the problem. This is the fucking problem with modernity. Everyone's always looking to optimize. No one's ever just like, I'm going to live a slightly healthier lifestyle. People are like, okay, now it's time for me to scrutinize every single decision that I make, exercise and diet, all of it, to optimize. Is it okay for me to have green tea? Is that the best possible use of my drink? This obsession with efficiency is also a disease of liberalism. You have to cleanse yourself of it, okay? Google's what's the best toothbrush for 10 weeks before buying one? Yeah, the Reddit brain disease. Fresh cold water is the best? Yes, sir. Orange juice is super bad for you sugar-wise? I'm sure it's fine. It's probably better than this. This burger looks awful anyway. River. Those patties look dry as hell. Yeah, well, a lot of people who are eating like this aren't exactly eating well. You know, it's not like that food is tasty. Ugh. How do I have so many links? Okay. I've seen this one. The City Journal article on Gen Z Republicans, where a bunch of them were like, I'm not saying that I like Hitler, but you know, he did a lot of good stuff. Where do you get your political news from? Spotify podcasts like Tucker Carlson or Rumble with Nick Fuentes. A guy who's been in political radio space for 40 years or so. He's an older dude. I think went to Vandy. Carmichael. I get a lot of my political news from YouTubers. TikTok or conversation with other people. Social media. My favorite influencer is Alex Earl. Alex Clark, Brett Cooper, as well as family members. Alex Clark, Brett Cooper, Mark Driscoll, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro. Mainly YouTube. Donald Trump, Ben Shapiro, also the guy who just got assassinated, Charlie Kirk. I've heard of that guy. They do seem split on whether or not the country is improving. How's the country currently doing and why? Improving. I think there's been a major culture shift. That didn't last very long. Improving. The economy's settling. Changing. Thought about polarizing. Improving partly because of tax incentives. I feel like people have woken up. With Christianity, I feel like it's a big part of people's lives. Wasn't before. It was Charlie Kirk. I feel like when he was killed was when people started to actually wake up. Remember how like 6 months ago, there was a big wave of conservative influencers trying to convince you that Gen Z was getting more religious than ever before? And now the polling's out, and again, Gen Z is less religious than the millennials. Like the trend is continuing. Everyone everywhere is getting less religious. These people's positions are legitimately beneath consideration. What are you supposed to work with on these? Who's heard of Nick Fuentes? Just over half of the participants, 13, put their hands up. Gen Z guys say in polls they go to church a lot, but internal church headcounts show the opposite. That makes sense. Virtue signaling. You're going to react to that one Somali fraud video? Yeah, probably. Aren't we bombing Somalia a bunch? Haven't we been doing a bunch of drone strikes in Somalia for some reason? We've been getting wacky with it. Where's that video? Nigeria too? Gotcha, gotcha. Racism? Gotcha, gotcha. Where's that video? Come on, where's the video of the guy? He bursts into the daycare and he's like, "Where are they?" And then the daycare workers are like, "We're not going to let you barge in to see kids while you're holding a camera." Autism Center, 1-800-FRAUD.
Hello, we'd like to ask...
The guy who made the video did a shit poor job of journalism. Nick Shirley. Isn't this the, wasn't this guy one of the big, like, Zionist disinfo peddlers? If I remember correctly? Let me see if I can... Yeah, here we go. It always comes back to Israel. I visited the Israel-Gaza border with the last mayor of Gaza, full doc, where Hamas launched attacks. How Hamas operates. Most intense investigation I've ever done, and it's been shadow banned on platforms like YouTube. You won't see this video from the MSM. Yeah. Look at that length. Good Lord. He went to Ukraine and filmed nice cars and people chilling to imply they're stealing U.S. money for nothing. There are no non-grifter conservative influencers. Well, I guess some people are just mentally ill. This post does a good job deconstructing the misinfo surrounding this. Well, this isn't even wasn't there like a case of fraud or multiple cases of fraud that were being investigated by Biden's DOJ, and just nobody paid attention to it at the time? What are you even supposed to make of it? Like, there's not. I hate the debunks and the takedowns because I don't think the people who are watching this or who pretend to care about it actually do, for the most part. You know, I hate the asymmetrical sincerity.
Where the money's going. What do you guys think about
Somali fraudsters locked door? Did you see that?
the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside.
You can tell by the way this is edited. This is a very serious documentary.
Building.
Patriarch did a pretty good video on the matter, and it talks about more than just the sensationalism. The thing that pisses me off is that I don't think any of them think this is real, because none of them are ever going to actually try to prosecute anyone. None of them are going to go to the courts. None of these daycares, Tim Walz, whatever else. They don't want to bring it to the law because they know that it's fake. The only thing they actually care about is that they hate black people. That's it. It's just, it could be anything, man. It could be anything. It's complete. They don't actually believe. They did the exact same thing with the Haitians eating our pets or whatever. They admitted, they knew that it was made up. They just wanted something to talk about. If you want a great case of how cooked legacy media is, this hit the nightly news with no critical analysis. Well, that's not it being cooked. That's it being complicit, you know?
Actually, the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia, like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves, all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense.
I feel like I'm getting more retarded listening to this. I do think you have to be low IQ to watch this and not immediately understand that you are consuming slop. If a left-wing video was framed in this way, like it's so obviously biased, toying with your emotions, like no actual information given, the conclusion is begun with, like you don't try to lead up to a conclusion with evidence, you start with the conclusion and then support it with the evidence you find after. I don't think you for the most part you'd get away with this on the left, like in any circumstance. I think that this is a uniquely right-wing, low IQ phenomena. You just have to be like a lesser kind of person to follow this. Good example of the results of our public education. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You can just get away with grifting a lot easier from the right. It's like when Twitter introduced and then, you know, tried to backpedal on that account location feature, and it turns out every single conservative blue check account was from India or Bangladesh or whatever. And the reason for that, it's not as though they wouldn't be doing that on the left if they could. It's that it's easier as a foreigner who doesn't speak good English to imitate conservative talking points. You know, like it's much easier to post and go viral as a conservative than as a leftist. Way, way, way easier, because their points are stupider. It's easier for a foreigner to grasp them. You know, you can like construct the simulacrum a lot easier, even if you have a poor grasp at English and even the foreign, you know, cultural issues. Yeah, making a post monetize is insanely cancerous. It's much easier to peddle hate. Yeah, for the most part, because you have to be pretty dumb to buy into it.
events. And in this video, we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand.
Also, the cadence with which this script is being written, you know? I don't know. It's like...
The incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation.
We found out black people were stealing money. And to find that out, I met up with this guy who has been looking into it for a while. Classic YouTube cadence. No, not really. Normally, YouTubers overemphasize. This guy sounds like he doesn't even understand the words in his own script.
For years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked.
This video alone is the reason ICE is now going door to door in Minneapolis looking for fraud. Well, yeah, because ICE has literally nothing to do right now except respond to Groyper prompts from the internet. What do you mean? What do you mean? ICE is going door to door, what? Asking Somalis about their involvement in a daycare scheme? Well, what the fuck does that mean? They're not detectives. Like, they literally have nothing else to do.
How deep is this fraud?
It was a fraud.
New AI editor 3. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain if it's
2017, I haven't seen it.
3801?
This is the
I wonder how many ad breaks there are in this video. I would love to see the viewer analytics on this to find out how many people actually watch the entire thing. I would love that. I bet an overwhelming majority, and this is the case for all videos to an extent, but an overwhelming majority of the views on this drop off after the first 60 seconds. Inside the Muslim versus Christian battle growing in America. Asking Americans about the current state of America. Confronting the deported migrant scammers in NYC. North Korea escapee. It's her! How socialism brainwashes and destroys everything. Yeonmi Park. It's her, an icon, a hero. And when the trains would run out of fuel, they would order us all outside into the snow, and they would force us to push the train all the way 70 miles to Pyongyang. She's still doing the same grift, huh? It's literally all they have. She's had a lot of work done. I mean, it's fitting. Holy shit, this is an hour 23. God damn. The man leading the UK revolution, the Tommy Robinson interview. Nick Shirley briefs President Trump at the White House. It is worth remembering, like, the reason these people are able to produce so much content and they're able to get these connections. He's not just a random YouTuber. This guy has connections to the government, 100%. You could probably look, I'm not even going to look into it. I just know that I'm right. You could look into him for 5 minutes. I guarantee you this guy has connections to officials within the Trump department or with Israel. Nick Shirley was spotted in Chicago working with and driving with ICE agents during Midway Blitz. There was local talk of it back in October. Really? Well, there you go. All these people need to be arrested. He's also the guy the Department of Homeland Security sent down to CSOT. He's 100% connected. Yeah, it's just again, it's insane how far behind the Democrats are. You know? Like, the Democrats, it takes them years and years to catch on to the whole, like, white male loneliness epidemic thing, and then they put that fat woman in charge of figuring out a solution. What's her name? That dipshit Biden simp or whatever. Sorry, I just remember her as fat woman. I'm sure she has a name. The person lonely white men are least likely to listen to. They're incapable of responding to any kind of organic internet trend. Remember that DNC podcast that got 100 views? Lol. A lot of them didn't even break 100 views. Meanwhile, the Republicans are just like effortlessly, just insane levels of corruption, state complicity, just silent state media. Remember the Call Her Daddy 200K interview? Yeah. Do you think Newsom will appeal to young men? No. Also, who cares? Do you think Ro Khanna might? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we're going to have to keep dealing with stuff like this until we normalize some kind of legal backlash against these people. I think you could very well make a case that people like this are operatives of the state and therefore should be considered complicit in the broader scheme of treason that the Republican Party has enacted against the U.S. Government and Constitution. But also, like, people like this should just be legally dogpiled. The reason this guy isn't is because, again, he's an agent of the state. He has protection. You know, he's a deep state operative, probably a relative or a friend of somebody who's in the administration, just some chud son being given a pet project to work on. You know, yeah, sure, you can have your YouTube channel, that kind of stuff. He's also far down the list. Yeah, he's far down the list, but he's also literally the exact same guy as any one of them, right? Like, he just follows orders. He could be anyone. He could be Tyler Olivier. He could be J.D. Vance. He could be Stephen Miller. They're all interchangeable. None of them have unique personalities because none of them are operating off their personality. They could all be Charlie Kirk. What could even be done to stop these kinds of people? I mean, in the tiny portion of the video we just looked at, what he's doing here could absolutely legally qualify as slander. Like, even leaving aside the broader treasonous stuff, like organizing this big government rally against specific businesses based on the ethnicity of the people who run them, like, you could absolutely go after him for this. You could bury him in civil court. But a lot of people don't want to do it, obviously, in part because they recognize this guy has a lot of dark conservative money behind him. Who is Nick Shirley? His YouTube account's early videos are more along the line of shock content and pranks. 6 years ago, as a 16-year-old, God, he's 22, I tricked TikTokers into auditioning for a Justin Bieber music video. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. He announced he was quitting YouTube to serve on a mission for the fucking Mormons in Santiago, Chile. 2 years later, he resurfaced with his videos being all political in nature. Well known in the MAGA universe, invited to the October Roundtable. I saw that one, yeah. Literally the Kirk replacement. They're all the same guy. They're all the same guy. Are Mormons discouraged from being that belligerent? I doubt he's actually religious. God, he's weird looking. Conservatism does this to you. The mush mouth. It's Jehovah's Witnesses that are more reserved with outsiders. Well, also, I mean, there's just not a lot of sincere religious belief these days, especially with young men. Like, a lot of them get into religion entirely as a kind of virtue signal, like the internet tradcats, right? We don't actually think, you know, Nick Fuentes practices Catholicism or JD Vance or whatever. This is obviously fake. But they like the pretend moral authority. Did you see that Looks Maxer saying he'd vote Newsom on Michael Knowles' show? Who is this kid? Who is this person? Clavicular tells Michael Knowles he would vote for Gavin Newsom 100 times over JD Vance and predicts a Newsom win.
Yeah, but I mean, like this next election cycle, who's going to win? It's going to be Gavin Newsom against JD Vance because JD Vance is subhuman and Gavin Newsom mugs.
JD Vance is subhuman?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
He's got a very short total facial width to height ratio. He's obese, very recessed side profile, whereas Newsom is like 6'3" Chad.
So
this is just a bit. It's a bit. So his thing is like he's the Giga Chad Looks Maxer guy, and he evaluates people based on their phrenology.
JD's very tall. JD's got to be.
Well, still,
6'2",
I mean,
6'3".
Gavin Newsom obviously mogs him to death.
So you're a Newsom head. You prefer Newsom to the vice president.
I'm just telling you who's going to win.
Do you prefer him though?
Honestly,
I prefer not to be ruled over by a dysgenic man. Yes.
It's hard to say, but Newsom being that much more of a mogger and like having a president who's like fat and especially that young.
You think I don't think he's fat.
I would say
he's a bigger guy for sure.
He's just like, it's just embarrassing. Like, how are you fat and you expect to like lead a country? You can't even be in shape, you know?
So let's say you got a vote. It's 20.
This is how I'm going to start talking after I learn how to do one pull-up.
28.
I'm voting for Gavin Newsom.
You're voting for Gavin Newsom.
You can't be that subhuman.
So hold on. You got. All right. Well, this actually is of a thread with the whole conversation because you look at
Knowles coming off super gay right now. For one, he always does. For two, Knowles can't really engage with this seriously because he's one of the more transparent grifters. Like for him, it's all theater. He's literally like a theater kid, you know. And he's getting out improv'd right now, you know. If he actually sincerely believed in this whole political project, he'd be getting angry and incredulous at the idea of voting for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance because Gavin Newsom has a more defined jawline. But obviously he can't because it's game recognized game. You know, it's all just content. He recognizes, oh, he's doing a bit too.
These two candidates, you have Gavin Newsom, worst governor in the country. I think we would all agree, destroyed his state, let its main city burn to the ground because of his incompetence, is a personal, complete derelict, liar, degenerate. But he is good looking. I'll grant you that he's good looking. Yep. And kind of looks like Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Hey. And then you have this vice president to President Trump, the transformative right-wing president in our lifetimes, who, do you support Trump or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got this vice president handpicked by Trump, who is extremely intelligent, very right wing. I think he's a pretty good looking guy. I don't know. Maybe I guess you disagree. But he's all these things, checks all these boxes, would have all these great policies. And regardless, you're going to pick the pro mass migrant, pro-trans, pro-murder the babies, pro-burn the cities to the ground, pro-BLM.
Trump is fatter than Vance and has been for decades. Yeah, but the clavicular guy doesn't actually care that JD Vance is fat or ugly or whatever. It's a bit. He's only doing this to JD Vance selectively because JD Vance has no aura. It has nothing to do with facial structure. Obviously, Trump is fat and has been like forever. There are photos of black and white photos of Donald Trump as a young man, and he was still fat back then too. It's nothing to do with that. It's a bit.
Democrat because he's skinnier than the conservative vice president.
100 times over. Yeah.
It's a good bit. It's a good bit. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I just don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to just advocate for your average person to only concern themselves with their own.
To me, that's the big cope. I agree with many of the observations you're making about the society, but the big cope, and this, you heard this with like the libs when they were trying to push the trans stuff, and they were upset that some of us were pushing against it, and they said, "How does this affect you?" You know, you're.
God, I just realized this jacket is a peak lapel, white dress shirt, no tie. My life was a fucking joke. Every day I'm subjected to this shit.
Walking out, it's basically your society is Sodom and Gomorrah, and they say, well, how does it affect you if I decide I want to like...
How do people like Knowles? People like Knowles because Knowles in his heart is a liberal. He looks like a liberal. He has a liberal affect. He probably internally is a liberal. He's only doing this bit because he couldn't hack it as an actor, you know? In reality, conservatives are unpleasant people. Ideologically and intellectually, they're just not fun to be around or to listen to. Think like your Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck types, you know? Like they're disgusting. Their aura is off. Michael, to him, it's all improv. So, you know, his likability comes mostly from the fact that he's a departure from the traditional conservative affect. Donald Trump is a departure from the traditional conservative affect. The conservatives have been trying to catch up to him, but Trump's like insane, belligerent, narcissistic, whatever. This is all like East Coast business mogul stuff, not like conservative politics stuff, you know? The fact that he doesn't act like every single Republican in Congress is the reason why he's been doing so well.
Castrate little kids in the school and redefine marriage and slaughter babies and sacrifice them to Moloch. And how does that affect you? You just mind your own business. And I think, how about I don't mind my own business?
How about no? I'm in Michael Knowles' brain. I'm cooking up my anti-trans talking points. How about we don't? How about no, Scott?
Marriage and slaughter babies and sacrifice them to Moloch. And how does that affect you? You just mind your own business. And I think, how about I don't mind my own business? How about my business is my community, and I have a right to enforce standards and norms that are good and traditional and conducive to flourishing? And how about you mind your own business?
But the problem is, you see what you just did there is you spiked your cortisol.
It's a good bit. That's a really good bit. That's a very strong retort. I don't know if I'd have a counter to that. If somebody hit me with that during a debate, I don't think that I would have a response.
Thinking about transgenders,
will that max anything on me?
No, that's a very catabolic hormone. So if you're advocating for people to, you know, go around and, you know, concern themselves with these issues, or go to, you know, like school, like board conferences and like, you know, be outspoken about this, that's just largely going to be unproductive. And, you know, it might seem like a doomer mentality, or like, you know, you're just going to let society go to shit. It's like on an individual level, it's not going to be productive.
But on a political...
I love this kid's ability to maintain a straight face. I appreciate this as like a sick joke. Or I guess is like a demonstration of where the conservative movement is going. Because as soon as the conservative movement accepted and embraced Donald Trump, this was inevitable. As soon as it all became an open performance, they guaranteed that in the long run, everything would degrade into a position of maximum insincerity. Like right now, one of the most popular influencers on the right is Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes openly thinks it's gay to fuck a woman. Like it's a reduction to more and more unserious positions until eventually you no longer have even like a tenuous link to the basic skills required to govern, you know? I thought that was Tate. Yeah, but Tate's literally a part of it. Like misogynistic you know, influencers, that's not new. I mean, the people on TV, on the radio, they've been doing that for decades, for centuries to an extent, you know, authors. But there was always, or for the most part, a level of seriousness to misogyny. I shouldn't say always. I'm overstating my case here. For the most part, misogyny has been culturally integrated, right? Like the people who advocate for misogyny are advocating for the continuation or strengthening of pre-existing social relations, you know? But But Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes don't do that. The stuff they say is absolutely absurd. It's performative for the sake of performativity. It's just to get attention. They're like that on everything now. Now it's not enough to be anti-immigration. Now you have to believe in remigration. It's not enough to believe that America should focus on its own interests. Now you have to believe that America should be completely isolationist. Like there are no longer sane positions on their side. So of course everything was going to degrade into this, you know? Turn it into a debate about phrenology. Why not? Anti-trans? Nah, getting worked up about them would make my cortisol spike. Sure. Why not? That's just as serious as any other position they pretend to believe in. Doesn't that mean conservative movement will eventually self-destruct and become politically unviable? Yes. I mean, but my argument, I guess, is that they've been doing this for a while. Like they've been circling the drain, and the only thing that's been holding this together like glue is Trump, because Trump represents a link to the Republican Party still having the ability to govern in his first term. But now that the Republican Party isn't stopping him from doing anything, we can all see he can't govern. He's completely incapable of governing. Nobody in the administration has any idea what they're doing. The DOJ is literally misfiling critical documents. We've lost the basic competence required to govern, and his approval rating is plummeted. So it turns out that in order for your political movement to be viable, you do need to believe in, like, some things sincerely. You know? You can't actually troll your way through everything.
Right. Well, look, it's been productive in as much as, at least the trans thing, there's so many other problems. Well, at least the trans things, though, we've kind of won on that.
Well, the way that I see trannies is...
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. I've been looking for an excuse to show this off. Is a transgender woman a woman? Age 18 to 29. Look at that swing. Dark red, strongly disagree. Orange, somewhat disagree. Likewise for dark and light green. Look at this swing. In just 8 months. No, wait, January to July. Yeah, 7 months. In just 7 months. Look at that. Unbelievable. That's crazy, right? A massive, massive, massive swing. We kind of won that. A large part of it is that people begin accepting things when the discourse gets so fucking exhausting. I think a lot of it's the maximal satiation of alarm. When everything is DEFCON 1, nothing becomes DEFCON 1. Conservatives have been talking about how transgenderism is the end of civilization for ages now, but who's been affected by trans people? Nobody, basically. Who's been affected by rising grocery costs? Everyone, basically. So, you know, over time, people's attention shifts a little bit. That's all there is to it, really. You know, trans people existed 10 years ago. They were mostly like making music and being annoying online and having strong opinions on character RPGs. And now, today, that's all they're doing still. It's just that their prominence hasn't really changed, you know? Kind of seem like just a feature of the world at this point. Look at that peak in 2022. Yeah, you know why the number bumped down this quickly? I guarantee you it was because this is when Bidenflation started really hitting. People's belief that transgender women are women correlated positively with their content during the Biden administration. Basically, young people's opinion on whether or not trans women are women depends almost entirely on which president they think will make groceries more affordable.
Is like, that's one more person to mug once they brutally butcher themselves transitioning, you know?
But is it, you know, I see that.
Like, go descend yourself. Like, that's fine with me.
Because you're ascending yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to ascend, and this person is going to be a comical botch job, you know? So, like, that just seems like very logical to me. Like, yeah, go be a tranny. Like, now I mug you to death. You know?
Now, isn't...
Seems fair. But it's a very like liberal position of bigotry, you know? Like the liberal bigotry, or the liberal bigot might say, like, you know, I believe these people are inferior, but that only advances my position in the social hierarchy. If, funnily enough, it actually projects a lot more confidence and strength than the fascist position, which is like terror at the other. You know, the German Nazi feared the Jew, right? Like, it wasn't just contempt. They were terrified that the Jew was embezzling gasoline during the rations or whatever. Oh, they're the reason the Treaty of Versailles was signed against us. It's not because of our scary hats that we wore during World War I that made everyone hate us, you know? Is this something a ContraPoints character would say? The entire conservative movement is becoming ContraPoints characters. Everyone is becoming like a position by frame, you know, like a discursive facet. The Nazis were terrified of being mocked by the Jews. Yeah, all I'm saying is that if the Nazis were confident in their ideology of Aryan supremacy, shouldn't they have been happy living around Jews because they think they'd be mogging them all the time? Like, wouldn't that you'd think they'd be like stoked about that? Because otherwise, if they only live around other Aryans, they have to compete on even ground. What does MOG mean? MOG, MOG, means when you're better than someone in some respect. That's hard to say off the bat. The clavicular bit is pretty funny. I just Googled, well, YouTube searched clavicular. This was the first thing, this was on top. The rise and fall of clavicular. So this is the guy who ran over a stalker with his Cybertruck or something? That's pretty funny.
Let's just keep piling up the things that clavicular hasn't shared with us.
Holy shit, dog, you're jacked.
Let's just keep piling up the things that clavicular hasn't shared with us. Whatever I've done, it's not a big deal. Begin to explain, but I've just ended it in the world. I'm here to tell you it's way worse. And by let me ever in my curious.
Damn. Look at that. Anything is possible.
Case of clavicular. You're literally, and if guys, anyone, to avoid everyone, to eat a different.
He started testosterone when he was 14. Clavicular? So wait, is it a bit or is he actually insane? He's actually insane? That's pretty cool. Speaking of botched, clavicular was injecting filler into his girlfriend's face on stream. Wait, that was him? This viral clip? Clavicular injecting his 17-year-old girlfriend with face filler on stream. That was him? Damn, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. He hits himself with hammers to strengthen his jaw. Okay, but does he actually do that, though? Or does he say he does that for the sake of a YouTube video? He does it on stream? Well, that would be for the sake of the stream, then. Like, does he actually do it, or... Yeah, I'm not freaking out about the 17-year-old thing, because I don't know how old he is. Is he 18? How old is he? 19? Okay, well, whatever.
Different times to bathroom Max and go at the bathroom when no one else is around.
What?
To avoid seeing his parents, to eat at different times, to fast so that you don't have to be seen by other people. Does that sound like somebody who has no problem talking to other people? Or like somebody who would be using these various drugs in order to cope?
In August 2024, he was charged with misdemeanor assault and battery on a 56-year-old woman, as well as felony assault and battery on a 63-year-old man.
Assault and battery on a...
Oh, so this guy has like a long and storied history then. Okay, that's interesting. I've had enough look smaxing and clavicular. I didn't realize that my assumption based on this guy's bit was that he would be he'd be running his circuit in like the conservative space. I didn't realize like the YouTube gym bro space would be the one that would be the region of influence, you know?
Into a reaction channel. Wow. Today we're covering a very hot topic, looks maxing. And I am collaborating with none other than Clavicular.
Still take test at 14 years old?
Absolutely, yeah. I started with 300 milligrams of testosterone, and I did that for a while, up until I was 16. $35,000 for a double jaw surgery. I'm taking testosterone every single day. I use crystal for hollow cheeks. I'm not a huge longevity guy. I'll bone smash, and then I will cover up the inflammation with makeup.
Why are you spending $100,000 on surgery to go from 6'2" to 6'6"?
Okay, now before you tear into Clark Kent from Whoville, let's all first take a look at ourselves. Now,
you're faking this accent. You wouldn't say first that way. This is fake. You probably sound just like me when you're talking to your friends and family. It's a character? Why is everybody a fucking character, man? Am I the only guy on this website who just sits here and then talks like the way I sit here and I just talk like normally? Everyone has a fucking bit? You're not playing up being retarded? No, I'm this cognitively damaged in my day-to-day. We've always wanted you to do a funny voice. Is that what's holding me back in the YouTube? Is that why I haven't cracked 1 mil? I need a funny fake Joyzy accent. All right, everyone, it's Vosh here with another YouTube videos for yous. Now, today we're going to be looking at a conservative. Oh, conservatives, what a guy this is, huh? Just fucking 4 hours a day? Just got 100K subs. Just where it works? Okay.
if you're watching this channel, you're likely a gym rat who at one point and kink is knowing facts about sexy dudes. Some sort of meat golem that only dudes find attractive. So ask yourself, how different are you really than this 29-year-old teenager who's...
Wait, he's 29? I don't think is he 20? He's 20? Okay, I don't know. No, he's 20? Okay.
Autism kink is knowing facts about sexy dudes. Let he without trend cast the first stone. And since there's no one without trend here, I'm just going to go ahead.
Looks are the most important metric, and it's something that's super within my grasp.
Watch this
now,
interview.
Believe it or not, I actually think Wax Figure Wolf of Small Meat over here has some valid points. Yes, looks
have illegal drugs. So when I got caught,
and yes, looks are very important in today's society.
Interview.
But that's...
I want to find that interview. That's way the fuck more interesting than this guy's commentary. Holy shit. This guy's been on the fucking circuit. Clavicular has heated debate with 10 girls, fresh and fit podcast. Most extreme looks maxing methods and the truth about attraction. Which of these is the interview? He literally nearly murdered a guy? Yeah, that's fine. I heard the guy was like a stalker or something,
What was the
right?
exact
Here we
moment
go.
you decided that natural puberty wasn't enough?
Well, I have always had the mentality that if something is going to get you to your goals quicker, then why not go for it, right? So when I was a kid, obviously I wasn't the most well-versed in pharmacology, so I didn't exactly know what I was doing, but I knew that it would help me get to the place I wanted to be at a lot more efficient rate.
Okay,
So,
people are developing extreme mental illness due to Hollywood, okay? You all need to learn this right now, okay? It's time. You're not supposed to be crazy hot when you're 20. You're still a fucking idiot. You're in college, maybe, or like just barely getting into the workforce, all right? You start hitting your stride in your mid-20s when you figure style out, right? People get in their head like, oh, you know, why don't I have the fucking insane hollowed cheeks or whatever? You still have fucking baby fat at 20. That's crazy. Why are you like the idea that you're supposed to peak physically at 20? This is a delusion. Okay? But I'm already hot as fuck at 21. That's great. I'm just saying, for a lot of people, that shit doesn't kick in till later, you know? But there are people out there who freak the fuck out because they don't have like the perfect, you know, jawline or whatever. And they're just barely out of high school.
You know, skipping out on that just seemed ridiculous. I thought, why would I work out as a natural, take years to make the progress that I can make in months? It didn't make sense to me at all. I was never worried about side effects. I was just worried about progressing, right? So that's kind of always been my mentality. I'm all or nothing with everything that I do, and I just needed to do.
Could you explain how this is different from being trans? Being trans is dignified.
But, you know.
Was there a specific moment that you remember where you were like, yeah, I'm just gonna hop on testosterone, like when you're 14?
Just really taking a look at, you know, what was that anyone could do.
Yeah, guys, for reference, I'm 24 years old, and Clav is a full 5 years younger than me. When I met you, I thought you were at least 23. What's like the scientific reason that you look older?
So it has to do with your androgen receptors, right? So obviously, if we're, you know, having super physiological amounts of testosterone at a young age, our androgen receptors are going to be hit by that, and you know, we're just going to masculinize our face a little bit more. I've also used things like HGH, so just all these different growth pathways being elevated led to, you know, me looking a little bit older.
Parents?
Okay.
Okay.
So when most people discover that they're not naturally gifted, they typically work harder, they train more. If they don't have any money, they start working longer hours, try to start a business. But you decided to rewrite your biology.
Correct.
Why do you value results over effort?
It's a good question.
So you call yourself very reasonable about what's accomplishable. Why are you spending $100,000 on surgery to go from 6'2" to 6'6"?
That is more about just presence, right? I've always valued presence super, super highly, right? You walk into a room, people notice, right? You're standing in the middle of a club, you're an outlier, right? That to me, just because people will come up to me, they'll say, oh, well, 6'2", you know, that's already.
I think this guy is doing an incredible public service because by publicly being him, I feel like he is going to negatively polarize a bunch of people away from this way of thinking. You know? I kind of respect him in his psychosis. Yeah, no. It's like he's broadcasting a worldview so loudly. You have to look at it and you have to draw conclusions about it. And your conclusion is probably going to be, holy shit, this is fucking insane. I sound ridiculous. My insecurities sound ridiculous now.
Very tall, but in terms of percentiles, it's only 91st percentile, right? 6'6", we get to 99th. I'm someone who wants to be the best, right? And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So that's why, you know, I'm seriously considering that limb lengthening surgery.
So you want to be 99th percentile at all aspects of life?
Absolutely.
Except maybe longevity.
Yeah, maybe not longevity.
So explain to me the limb lengthening surgery. I didn't know that you could do that. How do you do that? And like, what are the negatives involved?
So, you know, there's a lot of different clinics that do limb lengthening surgery, and there's different techniques used, but the best is actually Dr. Paley in West Palm Beach, so maybe about 30 minutes away from where I'm living now.
How convenient.
So that's a very real possibility. The unfortunate part about limb lengthening surgery is almost no one is going to be able to do it because you're going to have to be out of work for 6 months to a year, right? You're going to be hospitalized for the first 3 weeks. You're pretty much immobile for the first 3 months, and the next 3 months after that, you know, you're really not going to be able to walk without crutches and stuff like that. So getting away from work for that long is just not possible by most people, and not to mention the outrageous prices, right? So unless you're kind of, you know, making online money, it's just not something to even consider.
And then how does it work exactly? Like, where does it go?
They
Like,
put,
is
like,
it just
metal
your
rods
legs?
to
Like,
extend your bones,
so
right?
they're
Your
going
legs?
to lengthen
They break
both
your legs?
limbs, right? So they could do your femurs, and they could add to the lower legs as well. That's called a double LL. And then you have to wear distractors that slowly help the bone, fuse back together and heal. So it's a very treacherous process. It's very painful. You have to be under close supervision with doctors, and you really have to gauge the value. Is this something that's worth it to you? Because it's a horrible process, and there's no beating around the bush on that.
So you see it as reasonable because it would put you in the 99th percentile, but my issue with that is...
I wonder if he'll actually do it. He might pussy out. We'll see if he actually does that in the double jaw surgery. He might be lying about everything.
Possibility for you. It just really infuriates me to hear that talking point.
Clav, why are you getting a double jaw surgery?
I am getting a double jaw surgery due to the fact that I know the amount of money that I'm investing will pay itself off to a huge degree, right? So it's $35,000 for a double jaw surgery and with full facial implants. And I decided upon this before I did social media, back when I was working as a server. And I knew that if I was better looking, that would pay itself off in terms of whatever I did with my career. Because I knew that, your looks play into a role of, are you going to get hired, right? How people treat you, just in terms of how I was getting tipped, right?
He has a perfectly fine jaw. Yeah. But this is the thing that fucks with me, though, is that I want to know how much of it is real mental illness, because there's a financial incentive for him to fuck his entire life up for the money and for the attention. Like, he's not going to be a server. He's going to be like a lol cow forever. Like, right now, it's the Sigma whatever, and then over time, his face is going to rot off from all the bullshit he's doing to it, and he's going to be ugly and hideous, and people will send him donations to mock him or whatever. But there's a financial incentive for him to act this way, so it's impossible to tell how much of it is just illness. It used to be on the internet, there was basically no way of making money by posting. So if a person was being crazy online, that was authentic. Before bots, before blue checks getting a cut of the ad revenue, you would know that they were crazy. Now, who fucking knows?
So all these different things, I was starting to notice a lot more about how looks played into your income. So it was, a money thing, right? So that's how it started out. And now that I got into the world of social media, I know that I will go, insanely more viral, and it'll help my career a lot to do the double jaw surgery. It's not insecurity, right? There's nothing I can't do with my current looks package, right? I'm already having pretty much the life I want. It's just I know that, the return on investment is extremely high. And I think that's true for everyone.
So walk me through, like, if we take a step back, like, when did you realize what that was? Kind of explain it to me. Explain what you'll have to go through and what the results could look like negatively.
Is I decided I wanted the double jaw surgery. So what I had...
In the meantime, he'll be funny, at least. Also, he better not anger his black-pilled audience. That's probably the reason why he's not anti-Trump. I think I saw a clip of him where he was talking to Michael Knowles, where he essentially said that maybe if Charlie Kirk wasn't ugly, he wouldn't have gotten shot because of the halo effect. Like, because attractive people just tend to have better relations with the people around them. Like, maybe if he wouldn't have made Tyler so angry or whatever, if he was not so ugly. That was a pretty good bit. I could believe that theory. Yeah, no, I think there's some meat in them bones. He's really been running the circuit.
We're going to get Nick on roids, guys. I think
yes, I'm getting on Tren. We're going to do a protocol.
Not Tren. So the thing about steroids that happens to a lot of people is you talk about steroids,
What's the point of doing all this bullshit to your face and then not, like, ironing your shirt? Look at these plackets. This right placket looks like a fucking vulva. Look at how shrunk up it is. Did you throw this on the dryer on high? Gotta iron it down, man.
They're good if you do them right, but you really have to give people the most comprehensive, cycle and advice, or else they'll turn to shit. Steroids, if you just use testosterone without any of the cycle support and the blockers, you're going to descend. You're going to looks minimize rather than looks maximize. Your hairline's going to fall out.
Get a giant head.
Yeah. So do you know, have any interest in like, you know, looks, or are you just gonna go?
I don't know. What would I do? So if I'm looks maxing, what am I gonna do? What's my first move?
So you know, we talked about the age a little bit. How's the hairline?
My age?
So
my hairline, I have a V-shaped hairline, but it's not receding.
No,
Can you believe that Nick is old compared to this guy? That's fucking crazy.
It's always been like that?
Yeah.
Is that cope?
Since I was young. No, for real. Ever since I was in 8th grade, my hairline's a V.
Okay, well...
But it's going strong. I mean, it's thick, it's full.
For 26, yeah, it's...
Dude,
I don't even get it. I
never get old, kids. It's highly overrated. Never get old.
I don't even.
That's crazy.
But if you really
for 26, I'm young. I'm a young man. I'm a young guy.
And so, who looks older?
I'm a kid.
Chat, who looks older?
I'm a kid at heart.
I think he looks younger than me, which
They're
is
so cute
problematic.
together.
So, but the thing is, if you really wanted to restore that, hypothetically, to even have it straight, even grow further than it's ever been in your life, you could use something called minoxidil. It's an oral pill. You could go to your doctor, or you could just buy it on the internet.
This what the white boy's doing? My understanding is that at the moment, youth culture is basically 90% freaking out about being attractive. Like, I know there's always been an element of that. I know it's always been a popular feature of youth culture, but the incel, black pill, looks maxing, so on and so forth stuff, we're near hitting critical mass. The crazy thing is that in spite of everything, thanks to modernity, it's probably for a lot of people at least easier than ever to find a person and get laid. Like, maybe people used to go to parties more often, but for a lot of Americans back in the 1960s or 50s, you lived in a small town where there weren't really like many social opportunities to just hook up with somebody and experiment with what you're into. The lifetime average partner count for an American woman at the age of 30 is like 4, I think.
Damn.
I'll leave that up to you.
My hair's fine, okay? It's just, what else besides my hairline? What's my first move? Do I go on testosterone? Do I get a jaw surgery?
I don't think you need a jaw surgery.
I would need to get taller. I would need the leg lengthening surgery. That'd be my first move, I think, right?
Or you can do that, or you could stuff the insoles into your shoe.
I could what? Oh, insoles? Dude,
yeah.
But that's so... If you ever get caught with that, you're done forever. Zero aura. If you ever get caught with lifts...
Dude, yes.
So the plan is the double jaw surgery.
Right.
And that brings it forward and makes it wider and bigger?
Forward and down.
And down.
A down graph, yeah.
Give it Chad.
Yeah, essentially.
Jawline.
That's the plan.
Then you're going to max out more the physique.
Doing the Elon thing.
And then you enter into whatever
passion is. Yeah, because I mean, I'm still a young guy. A lot of people don't know because I have a beard, but I'm only 19 years old.
That's crazy. Yeah, you called me Unk.
Yeah.
He's like, how old are you? I'm like 26. It's like, I didn't know you're that old.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, okay, out of pocket for no reason, catching strays.
It's over.
It's okay. I'm Unk. It is over. It's so over.
Buddy, you look younger than me, though.
Thanks. It's true.
That is true.
You can love or hate Nick, but he's dedicated to the craft. Like, this is like a
of
real
looks maxing
right here. Whether you agree or not, you have to at least acknowledge that. You know?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. You too. You're a real looks maxer.
Yeah, 07s.
All these other 07s in the chat. All these other soft looks maxers.
I'm telling you, man, Nick is in for a wild future. I don't know whether he's going to pull a Keemstar and just do like drama shit, or he could be he could do an Ethan Klein. He could go anywhere. It's such a misread of his profile to think of him as like a Nazi influencer. The Nazism is an affect, okay? He just wants to chase youth culture. Right now, there are a lot of people who are jumping in on the Nazi thing. 10, 20 years from now, woke too, he's going to be rating albums. You know? It's all temporal.
I think they're pussies,
Dude, yeah, man.
Raw meat, try steroids.
Yeah, that's
Nick yearns to market and sell makeup palettes. Fucking
I'm not
true.
gonna try steroids, for the record.
Yeah, well, definitely don't try raw.
I'm gonna get roided up though.
A Truk right there, Truth Nuke.
Truk, Major Truk.
They hired another guy.
Someone said what you're doing is Faustian.
Really?
Yeah, because you're like going beyond. You're like reaching outside. You're using the latest science, modifying yourself with surgery.
Is that what Faustian means? Is that what it?
Even though you're, in a way, you might be, you said this the other day, you might be like destroyed in the process. Like it might take years off your life, but it is about going beyond.
It has to be done, dude. I'm willing to push the limits so far on what's necessary, because just like the times that we're living in, man, it's crazy.
That's who we are. That's
all that just to look like a normal guy who works out, who also knows how to thread his eyebrows, you know?
Our DNA. That's what we do.
That literally is our DNA, is to push the limits.
Because
Like,
black people look at white people like, shit, white people skydiving, I ain't going up on an airplane. And whites are like, dude, we're going to go to the fucking moon.
Yeah.
We're going to hike to the tallest mountain. We're going to go to the bottom of the ocean.
we're going to do what's necessary.
That's who we are.
To reach a giga chat.
We create shit.
That's right. Leg
dude.
extension, double jaw surgery.
Whatever.
There's the Nazi shit. Well, they had to throw some in, obviously, or you forget who you were watching. It's a pity Nick got into this Nazi shit. He could have had a real media career. Yeah, but that was also the case with Michael Knowles. That's the case with all of them.
Cycle's a trend.
Yeah, whatever the fuck it takes.
No trend.
Cycle's a trend, limb surgery, yes, all of that. We're doing what needs to be done to ascend, and then, you know, what comes after that, I don't fucking know.
Does Nick even believe this? No? Obviously not. The dude in the back is weird. I want to know who the dude in the back is. I have no idea.
We're gonna get Nick on roids, guys. I think.
Yes,
it's,
I'm getting on trend. We're going to do a protocol.
Not.
Sorry, that started playing again. I didn't realize the audio was on. I swear I was bigger than this creep when bodybuilding natty. I don't think this guy's trying to bodybuild. I think he said he was taking the testosterone to like further masculinize his features or some bullshit. I don't know. It's not really meant to make sense. Don't worry about it, kitten. Just what happens when society has no hero mentors. Well, no, it's the vortex of the conservative movement, you know? Everyone has to be a lolcow for attention. You can't really sincerely advocate for any of the shit they believe in. How do you do that? What a waste of time. This is what happens when you can make money on social media. That's a better way of putting it. Didn't Alex Jones used to do like public access television? Yeah, he's been around for a while. Oh, man. Actual news? Actual news? Do we have to? Whatever happened to Glenn Beck? Nobody knows. Hold on, let me find this. I'm gonna find it. Why can't I find it? Here we go. Ro Khanna. Remember Ro Khanna? If you heard rumors of this guy, you may or may not be aware. One of the main architects in the release of the Epstein files, which of course we're all still processing and dealing with. He's gotten himself in hot water with the worst people alive. Look. Ro Khanna is saying what is objectively true, but nobody is brave enough to say. And for this, I'm actually willing to give him a ton of respect. Ro Khanna is pointing out that we need to raise taxes. Massively. He's been fighting on Twitter over the past couple of days with a bunch of Silicon Valley fascists and pedophiles who are really, really, really upset with the idea of a 1% tax on billionaires, a state tax in California, to pay out, you know, the dwindling Medicaid funds. He could have said this years ago. Yeah, but like nobody's been willing to say it. The idea of a wealth tax or of raising income tax or whatever, nobody's willing to say it. Nobody's been willing to say it. People are insanely cowardly. Everyone's fucking terrified of the wealthy leaving, which, you know, if the wealthy leave, just, I don't know, arrest them. Fuck you. We do not allow civilization to end just because, like, a few dozen people in the United States are terrified of having double-digit billions rather than triple-digit billions. Jesus Christ. Seize their assets. It is unironically the moderate position. Why stop with billionaires? Why stop at 5%? Keep going, Ro. Keep going. It's 1% a year for 5 years so Californians can have health insurance. Love it, but let's do more. Let's take 10% for millionaires and do better health insurance and a train from LA to Fresno and groceries. Da-da-da-da-da. Taking people's assets after they've already paid 53% income tax on them. You haven't. Income tax is not enough. We need... Sorry, I'm not really, like, prompting the full discussion. Ro Khanna posted... that he is interested in a 1% over 5 years billionaire tax, 1% every year for 5 years. And now a bunch of California-based billionaires like Peter Thiel are talking about leaving the state. They're being very loud about it, which is like, it's insane because it used to be that if a populist politician was talking about taxing the uber wealthy would conspire quietly behind closed doors about how they're going to sink the guy's campaign. And now a bunch of these psychopaths, they are openly talking about getting him primaried, like dumping fuck tons of money into the race to guarantee that Ro Khanna does not win on re-election. No shame. Being totally out of touch with the moderate faction of his base, Khanna has devolved into being an obnoxious jerk. At least that makes voting him the fuck out all the more gratifying. Tan, a wealthy venture capitalist and founder of the California Venture Capital Fund Initialized Capital, responded to Casado's rant with a simple message. Time to primary him. Count me in. Happy to be involved on any level. Look at this shit, man. This is 100% going to backfire. I don't think Silicon Valley oligarchs realize how much the country hates them. People hate them much more than they hate, like, wealthy old money types. They're so obnoxious. They're so socially incompetent. They're so fucking loud. Remember how all of these freaks were screaming from the top of their lungs that the government needed to immediately bail out the Silicon Valley Bank back when that went under 2 years ago? The most base thing about this proposition is that the tax includes a tax on unrealized gains, which we need to implement nationwide. Income tax is worthless. It would make sense if the way billionaires got their money was by making money, but they don't. They just sit on hundreds of billions of dollars of unrealized capital gains that they never take out, and they borrow money loaned against the value of their unrealized assets. Like, Elon Musk doesn't fucking pay taxes. What are unrealized gains? Right now, you only pay taxes on the value of your stock assets when you liquidate those assets. So if, say, for example, you're a CEO, and as part of your CEO payment package, you're given $20 million in stock in the company that you run, you are not taxed on that $20 million worth of stock. If it goes up to $30 million, you're not taxed on it. If it goes up to $40 million, you're not taxed on it. You're only taxed on it when you sell the stock and turn it into actual hard cash. But nobody ever does that. The only people who sell stock are small-time day traders, okay? The people who have real money just sit on their stock, on their unrealized assets, and they leverage it to borrow money from banks or, opportunistic lenders, and they use that money, which they're not taxed on because it's a loan. Are you taxed on it when you leverage it for a loan? No. I'm dumb. How do they pay back the loan then? Well, usually they pay back the loan in the same way, by transferring stock. Or they take out a bigger loan. But in a lot of cases, you can either infinitely roll up debt, or you can just shuffle stock around. But if it's never liquidated, it never becomes taxable. Shouldn't that be considered fraud technically? No, that's how the system is meant to work. It is a system that guarantees that once you have a certain amount of money, it's almost impossible to lose money. Once you have enough money that you can just sit on your stocks and allow them to accumulate in value, you're basically guaranteed to ride that wave and make more money forever. And this is what's happened. The market has become more and more K-shaped to the extent that if your wealth is not coming from assets, your share of the economic value, your share of the wealth supply is going down. And if you do have enough money that you can just coast on those assets, your share goes way up and has gone way up. Remember, there are a bunch of people now who are worth multiple hundreds of billions of dollars. 10 years ago, there were none. This is a completely modern phenomena. The amount of the trillions of dollars that have shifted upwards, sitting unrealized, unused, untaxed in a dragon's hoard. The only way around this is we need to tax unrealized gains. There is no way around. I'm saying this in the most emphatic way possible. Our civilization will end due to the over-financialization of the economy, unless we are willing to tax unrealized gains or otherwise restructure the economy in a way that prevents money from being hoarded in that way. But all of this cannot survive the way the money is being siphoned. Letting him finish his run-on sentence, then cat throw. No cat throw. Money should expire after a year. That's literally the point of tax. Wait, do they have to liquidate their gains to pay for the tax, or how would it work? They only have to pay taxes when they sell the shares. Did you see Matt Iglesias defend? Yeah, I saw. First, they came for the billion. It's time to take a bold stand in defense of America's off-the-line billionaire class. Yeah. It's Matt Iglesias. Vosh just say wealth tax? Well, I just want to be clear that wealth tax has to include unrealized gains. Because there are versions of a wealth tax that don't. Hey, Matt Brunig. Wait, he wasn't joking? No, it's Matt Iglesias. What are you talking about? Is he joking? Cap the inheritable wealth? The problem is not inheritable wealth. The problem is the stock market. The stock market is a machine that transfers wealth up into the hands of an incredibly tiny group of economic elites. It's not whether or not the money goes back to the state when they die does not matter, because when the money is reintroduced into the system, it'll funnel back up again in exactly the same way. I love my AI graphs. The new game in town isn't even the stock market, it's private equity. Private equity is just the executioner. Like the prominence of private equity. Okay. Guys, can I entertain you guys with a little story? It's not the first time you've heard it, okay? You know how Japan is known for making lots of cute little crafts? This is something they're known for. If you go to Japan, or hell, just like look up stuff in the country, all over the place in Japan, they make stuff, right? It sounds general. It is general. But if you want a high quality version of just a household thing, they've got it in Japan. They like making stuff. They make a lot of stuff. Why do they make so much stuff? The Japanese economy is pretty robust. There's a lot of money moving around. They have a culture of craftsmanship, sure, but it's not just them. Basically, every culture on Earth had a culture of craftsmanship up until the Industrial Revolution, right? Like everyone did, because everyone had to craft. Why did they keep making things when we don't? And we don't, by the way. America is overrun with financialization, chain restaurants, and big box slop. Low quality, factory produced bullshit. Why don't we make things? The only thing we make is weapons? That is true. We do produce a lot of top quality firearms here in the United States. Why does this happen? Well, long story short, and I'm really simplifying here, okay? The Japanese economy had a crash in the 1990s. And all of a sudden, all of the businesses of Japan, which up until that point had been making oodles of money by borrowing money and then borrowing more money to pay the initial loan and then doing that over and over and over again. Borrow money, invest it, get returns on the investment, pay off the loan, borrow more money, da-da-da. Basically, it was very cheap to borrow money, and they did it a lot, and they invested it a lot, and they got a lot of money from it. And then the economy crashed. Every Japanese business was now in debt with no way of easily paying it back. There was no longer an easy investment for them to make that would get them the returns they needed to pay off that debt. Like, we're talking about a cataclysm. Like, in Japan in the 1990s, it was like 2008 for us, but worse. It was mostly localized to the Japanese economy, but it was rough over there. Imagine everyone's making money, and then one day everyone wakes up and every business all around the country realizes, holy shit, we owe like 10 billion yen, and we have literally no way of paying it back. Like every business now has negative money. It's really bad, right? So what did they do? Well, they saved money, they scrimped, right? Over time, many of these businesses were able to pay back the enormous debt they had saddled up in the lead up to the crash. But as a consequence of that crash, Japanese businesses are, for the most part, super unwilling to borrow money. They don't want to, because they remember. A lot of the people who work at those companies were employees at those companies when the crash happened. Like, it's still in the cultural memory. So as a consequence of the fact that their economy is now resistant to over-financialization, that is to say, the money in Japan is not being exchanged for financial reasons. They're not doing it in this scheme of like borrow, invest, pay off the loan, borrow, invest, right? The money they're making is through regular transactions, goods and services. Because the people and the businesses there are unwilling to engage in those financial schemes, their stock market, relatively weak compared to the amount of money flowing around in the economy, but their economy produces a disproportionate number of actual goods and services. Like, how do you make money in Japan if you're not willing to engage in financialization? Well, you produce goods and services. Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? The problem is, over here in America, there's no money to be made in producing goods or services. The margins on running businesses have become incredibly tight. In Tokyo, there are 1 billion small businesses, you know? Not literally 1 billion, but literally over 1 million. Small family-owned businesses. You want to sell something? You open up a shop. You don't get many customers? That's fine. Operating costs are low, right? Yeah, low overhead. There's a robust market. People are spending their money on goods and services. Therefore, a lot of the money's flowing around, right? Relatively high velocity of money, at least at that ground level, because more and more of the money is being reserved for those day-to-day transactions rather than those top-end financial schemes. I'm not saying that all the money in our economy is a zero-sum game, like $5 out of one guy's pocket means somebody else is getting 5 or whatever, but it's not an infinity sum scheme. Does that make sense? Like, if more and more of the money is being reserved for that financial bullshit, there's less of it going to use around here. In America, we're dealing with the exact opposite problem, right? The problem we're dealing with right now is that the margins are really bad for most goods and services. And this comes down to a lot of stuff, right? The way our economy is structured, the way we've built our cities. But a lot of it is just a lot of people don't really have the money or impetus to go out and spend at local businesses, you know? Our cities aren't that walkable. A lot of people don't have the pocket change to do it. It didn't used to be like this. The average American was poorer back in the 1950s, but spent more of their money at small businesses. Now people spend their money at Walmart and Target. And where does that money go? Not back into the fucking community, I can tell you that much. That money goes whoop, back into the big financial scheme. You get me? When you buy from Temu or Shein, or you buy from Walmart or any place where the money is not being spent locally, that money is being siphoned off into a big machine where some of it is going to be converted into the financial industry, where it will fucking stay. Because money you spend at Walmart, some of it will end up getting financialized, but money that is financialized is not trickling back down to you. When you buy shit from Walmart, the profits from the company in some large abstract after 1 million transactions eventually end up being part of a broader portfolio. That money goes up, but the financialization does not in any way enrich you. And as a consequence, it's getting really tough to run American businesses, you know? And a bunch of them are closing down. And that's where private equity comes in. Private equity is the plague. It's the fungus that consumes the corpse of the American economy. As time goes on, more and more classic American businesses and brands and so on are going to go under, and they will be consumed by the last organism in the natural life cycle of the American business cycle, right? Like the very last one, which is when a business can no longer operate at a profit, it gets consumed and liquidated by parasites from Wall Street. And that money that the private equity company gets in the liquidation of that firm then goes into the financialization. You understand? It is the executioner. It is the death knell. It will come for everything. Even businesses you thought couldn't possibly go under. In your lifetime, you will see businesses you thought were rock steady, stuff you thought couldn't Sears, Macy's. I mean, we're talking like big firms here, you know? They will go under, they will be eaten, and everything they're worth will be liquidated and it will be moved on up. The only way out of this scheme is the definancialization of the economy. What happens after? Well, what happens after is just a worsening of what's happening now, which is that the economy used to be about feeding and clothing people, right? Like the economy was about the exchange of goods that humans used, spices, furniture, housing. But now that's only a portion of the economy, and it's not the profitable portion. The profitable portion of the economy is the financial market. The unprofitable portion of the economy is trying to make goods and services for people. Eventually, the goods and services part of the economy will represent just a tiny vestigial portion of where the money actually goes. We will have low quality goods, a low selection of them, and somehow, even though everyone buys from them, the big box stores that sell us these goods are going to be on the brink of financial ruin. There will be no money in it because there will be no money to spend there. Everything will be getting worse all the time. When you put it that way, it really feels like America's having its death of empire Rome moments. I just want to make it clear that what I'm describing right now is not like a leftist theory. This is an economic certainty if we are unwilling to do something about either the fact that we don't tax unrealized capital gains, or the financialization of the economy. It's a mathematical fact. It's not a wacky analysis or an interpretation. We have data on what is happening in the economy, and there are very, very, very obvious lines. The money supply, the velocity of money, where it's going, how much of it is sitting in Wall Street, and you can just see where these lines are going. It can't literally always go up, because as one of these lines goes up, another proportional line goes down, and that line can't hit zero. You can't actually have an economy where no money is diverted towards the enterprise of feeding and clothing and housing people. You can't actually, it's not possible. Liberal economists have been talking about it for decades, saying the same thing. 100%, yeah. I think we'll eventually correct away from this course, but like in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of suffering. I do want to give a lot of credit to Ro Khanna for being brave enough to talk about a tax on unrealized capital gains while representing the district that has seen the greatest increase in unrealized capital gains ever in any point in human history. Ever. Nowhere outside of San Francisco has there ever been such an obscene swelling of stockholder wealth. It's unprecedented. Santa Clara, San Jose, really? Okay, it's in the area. Fuck you. And he's like arguing with the fucking NFT people here, you know? Well, I guess this one's actually agreeing with him. My manufacturing company got bought by PE and sold the land that Facebook's built on. Nice. I always get a headache from my fucking financial rambling. Crystal Ball is completely right on this, and good for her. TBH, he's trying to save your asses. You're too dumb to see it. The bottom 50% of Americans hold only 2.5% of the wealth. Do you really think this is a healthy or sustainable situation? Roe calls the wealth tax an anti-revolution tax, and he's absolutely correct. FDR did the same thing. Consistently, oligarchs are too stupid to realize that when things get really bad, they're like one bad day away from being liquidated in the town square. Like, actually. It has happened before in many civilizations at many points in time. To varying extents, it has happened. These fucking idiots are worth billions and billions of dollars, and they're actually willing to risk that. Part of this, I really think, is the problem of new money versus old money. A lot of old money people were smart enough to realize that they should stay modest and culturally integrated. Right? Like a lot of the wealthy people over on the East Coast in the 18th and 19th centuries, not to say they weren't shitheels, of course they were, but they tried to be like pillars of the community. Oh, name that library after me. Here, this arts festival, whatever. Look at me, I'm socially useful. I'm cultured. I'm polite. I'm talented. Da-da-da. I'm just better than you, and that's why I deserve this position. These people are worth 1,000,000 times as much as the fucking East Coast, robber barons were, and they're insufferable. They're stupid and loud. They have no respect for the society they live in. Oh, listen, all I can tell you is this, okay? I bet you that the average Silicon Valley unrealized capital gains fuckhead nowadays talks about leaving the United States for tax reasons much more often than Rockefeller ever did. Like, I bet you that there used to be a little bit more national pride. Leave to where? I don't know, Europe? What they don't realize is that neither side of the aisle likes these people. The only reason the right pretended to like Elon was because Elon got really racist really fast. The right does not like the fact that Silicon Valley is a bunch of like degenerate West Coast Indian ultra wealthy people with no social skills or talent. Just look at how they treat Vivek. He's a big fucking stock market foreigner guy. They freak out over him. They hate his ass. They do not like this new money, this swaggering, totally inept, wears a techie polo shirt, fucking here you go, Patagonia vest ass. They hate these people, and the left hates them. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes these people. They have their only defense is their money, and eventually that runs out. Aren't they building an island near Honduras? I cannot overstate to you how little their pathetic little doomsday bunkers will protect them if things actually come to a heel. There's no escaping humans. Not to mention the fact that they'd still be relying on supply chains off their little bunkers or whatever. Like, every castle ever built in human history is vulnerable to a siege. That was the point of a siege. You just starve them out. But also, castles were castles with a standing army. They really think that, like, an island bunker with some fucking gun turrets is going to stop people if shit really goes down? Absolutely not. At least feudal lords actually had social contracts with their subordinates to integrate them into hierarchy. We really do have like the worst run aristocracy. We have the most incompetent aristocrats. Like, Ro Khanna is retweeting this. He's retweeting the sentiment of, you idiots, you need to be taxed. Civilization is collapsing and they will come for your head if things get bad enough. Look at this, 1.3 likes, 1.2K comments. Ro Khanna 2028. Well, nothing else matters unless we can do a wealth tax. Like, unironically, this matters more than social progressivism. I don't think that anything needs to be compromised for anything else, but I do want more people on the left to be able to talk about this because I think it's too talked about in liberal circles, right? And I'm part of this. I'm part of this problem because for years I would say stuff like, well, we just need to, take money. We need to tax the billionaires for equality, and we need to divert money away from the military industrial complex and put it towards healthcare. But I didn't realize like how skewed the game was. You know what I mean? Comparatively speaking, I was talking about fighting over peanuts, right? The real treasure trove is in the wealth tax, in the unrealized capital gains tax. More people need to talk about this. And it's not just we need to do this to make our healthcare system more woke or whatever. It will all end if we don't. Soon, too. Not like a long, long, long time in the future. How soon are we talking? Tomorrow. Thinking about the future gave me a headache. What happens after it ends? Clavicular was right. After it ends, the only thing that will matter is social worth and the halo effect. And the only way to secure that for yourself is to be 6'6" with like a, you know, strong jawline. How would you do a wealth tax? Aggressively. Man, I initially wanted to do like a big stream today, but I have been like suffering. I have been suffering from a chronic fucking headache. At least they don't they don't happen as much as they used to. Talk to a doctor about that too. Yeah, I probably should. I just hate talking to doctors. Are you dehydrated? I don't think so. I drink a lot of water. Did you cover Trump bombing Venezuela? No. There's lots of other stuff I want to talk about, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and the like, but now my head hurts, man. I would rather be known for ending stream early than for running boring streams because I try to talk through the headache. And the timing is all off. Perhaps it's the ridiculous neon lights. It must be. You know what? I'm going to break with tradition. In spite of my head, I'm going to read donos. I'm gonna do the barest minimum. SamFan155, thank you for the $10. What was the most absolute cinema moment of 2025 of the second presidency of Trump? I genuinely don't know. The past year, politically, has not felt real at all. A bunch of insane shit happened and had no consequences whatsoever. And then, you know, Elon through Doge cut US aid. And as a consequence of that, hundreds of thousands of people have died already. So, but nobody talks about it. So, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I have no idea. Poy UK, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate that. Happy New Year to you as well. Cockow Win, thank you for the 2026. Ah, I get it. Hey, cool of stream. I'm late to stream start because my wife wanted to go on a bike ride. I was pulled between the two, but remember to engage IRL chat. Listen, if ever there was a good reason to not show up for a stream, going on a bike ride with your wife, that's a pretty damn good one. People in chat are seething right now at your comparative luck. Shrug and Bug, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Merry Christmas to you as well. And the Ghost Maker, thank you for the $5. May your 2026 be filled with lots of cool sweaters and loafers or something. I hope so. That's my hope. That's my hope. The Marxist Mark, thank you for the tier 4 sub. Really appreciate that. Man, we got Mask maxing before GTA 6. He's not the first. Though Clavicular might be uniquely committed to the bit. I actually refrained from buying a sweater today, if you can believe it. I was in their store, and I was very, very tempted by their Guernsey roll neck sweater, which I think is quite handsome. Recession indicator? More like I haven't been streaming lately indicator. Gotta earn that keep, you know? I like this. I think it's a good look. Looks comfy? Yeah, like a herdsman sweater. I like the change in the knit. Well, anyway. Iron Pond, thank you for the $10. Hey, Vosh and chat, felt like sharing some photos of my vacation in Georgia, the country. Yeah, I could have guessed that from the photos. Georgia, you're looking very orthodox today. Beautiful. Look at that. God damn. I really hope Georgia and the Caucasus and such are one day kind of liberated from post-Soviet control and also from their own dipshit leadership. So we can have, because there's so much cool history in these countries, you know? Be cool to have them built up properly. Yeah, speaking of. Whew. Really like this guy, huh? They seem to like him. Well, he was born there. Godwings 101, thank you for the $5. Sorry to be a linker. God damn it. This is relevant to the Diet Cola and aspartame subject.
How many cans of diet soda do you drink a day? 1? 10? 100?
My lawyer has informed me that I should invoke my Fifth Amendment rights.
How many can you drink before it becomes a problem? Well, the FDA's acceptable daily allowance says that you can eat 50 milligrams of aspartame per kilogram of body weight per day, every day, for the rest of your life, with no harmful effect.
For those saying they don't trust the FDA, we can look at Europe or Canada, which to be fair is lower. 40 milligrams per kilogram, meaning
1 can of Diet Coke has 200 milligrams of aspartame. That's this much. So if you weigh 80 kilos, you need to drink 20 cans of diet soda every day just to hit the safety limit.
In those places, you could only drink 16 cans a day. But remember, that's for 80 kilograms. If you
Okay, so the point is that diet soda's fine, right?
weigh more, you can consume more. Remember, you're not fat. You're poison resistant. Oh, and because I know people will comment, so you're saying aspartame is poison then? Yes, I am. Along with literally everything else, because as Paracelsus once said, the dose makes the poison. Oh, but even if you did drink that many cans to reach it.
To be extra safe, that limit is already...
No, it isn't. Aspartame causes cancer. My understanding is that there is no concrete evidence of this. Like, is it connected to cancer in the state of California is legally obligated to warn you that this might be a cancer risk?
That 100 times
Kind of
lower
way.
than the lowest dose shown to cause harm in animal studies.
Finally, for those saying anything but drinking water, don't worry. I drink plenty. 99% water right here.
Again, my main concern with diet soda is spiritual. You should be drinking water as your primary drink. And I mean that. I really, truly do mean that. I think that it's symptomatic of a broader social decline. If you're so like dopamine maxed that you're like, no. Because I can get away with it health-wise, my drink 30 minutes into my morning has to be this acrid, fucking, technically not toxic, but sure does feel like it, liquid I have to pour down my throat. I think that's something you made up. Spiritual decline? No, my friend. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on for many such cases. How many coffees have you had today? Nothing makes me more... This is like when weed addicts are like, yeah, well, you have caffeine, you know? Comparing diet soda in the morning to coffee in the morning is laughable. Like, everyone is laughing at you right now. Such a Reddit position, you know? You also have a drink.
Okay, bye.
How many cans of...
Yeah, coffee is spirited. Coffee is spiritually good for you. Hitler was an avid water drinker? Yes, but if Diet Coke had been around back then, you know he would have been chugging that shit. Alexius, thank you for the super kind tier 4 sub. I really appreciate that. Like 2 years ago, I donated saying I got accepted into UW, officially graduated earlier this year with a bachelor's in medical anthropology. Never again, nice to be back. Nice! Congratulations! Hope you enjoyed your time at UW. And since you must live nearby, I hope you enjoyed the weather today, because the weather today is pretty nice, you know? Very sunny. Congratulations, seriously. Bionic Meatloaf, thank you for the $10. Just beat Project Wingman, and it quickly became one of my favorite games. It's so fucking good, far exceeded my expectations. You should check it out. I've never heard of Project Wingman. Never heard of it. But I'm happy to hear you enjoy it. Having too much coffee can destroy your insides, and you're more prone to being angry when hungry. What do you... What about spiritual decline are you people not getting? I don't understand. It has nothing to do with health. I don't like, you don't need to be this defensive about your Diet Coke consumption, all right? You think I'm a degenerate live streamer. I think all of you are dispirited addicts who live tightrope walking along a string of cheap dopamine thrills that gets you from wake up to sleep on your way to the grave. We both have critical views of each other. Trying to debunk my claim that you're desold? You sound ridiculous. Manic, thank you for the tier 4 sub and the 5 tier 2 subs. Thank you. My goodness. Hey, Vosh, hope you and your loved ones are well. Thank you for making my year a little less miserable. Also, Bit loved the chat. They know. Happy holidays. Chat, try not to get dodged. Dodging the tier 2 subs, I assume. No. You've made 5 people very happy. A Christmas gift. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And I really appreciate that, you know? My New Year's resolution is to not get a headache or a cough for all of 2026. Oh, man. I'd stream so much. I'd be so productive. UW was nice. Watched one of the Gaza protests, and there was a dude sitting there going, "What about Christians?" That's really funny. Cornflower pestilence. Regarding headaches, could it be cracking your neck? No, it's not that. I think that my headaches are caused by a ghost in my brain, causing me tension headaches. They're just tugging a little bit too hard on the tendons at the nape of my neck, you know? Need to talk to a doctor about that. Raymundo66, thank you for the super kind $100. Can we get a show this to your conservative family clip update type shit? I have no idea what you mean by that. You can always clip the stuff that I produce on my channel. Though for some weird reason, for years now, YouTube has not allowed me to allow people to make clips of my content. Though I think that might have changed recently. Did that change recently? Did I fix that? Edit video, analytics, download, promote, report. Yeah, I don't see a clip option. I don't know how it works. They allow it for Hassan? Yeah, I don't know why. It doesn't let me do that. I don't know why. Yeah. Well, either way. Thank you, Raimundo. I really, really appreciate that. I'll try to fix it eventually. Coda 117, thank you for the $10. Fake sweeteners aren't really that bad for you, but consistent consumption can change your gut biome for the worse. Also, spiritually, cider is better at night. That is true. 100% true. Yes, sir. From what I've read, dehydration doesn't cause headaches, but caffeine addiction can. Doesn't matter, though, because Vosh is still in denial about the negative effects of caffeine. No, I'm not. I've never said caffeine doesn't have negative effects. I've pointed out that it's defensive for chat to try to rebut my excellent, correct points about your drinking habits or smoking habits or whatever by pointing out that I also drink coffee. You realize that's defensive, right? I've literally never said coffee has no negative side effects. All I've done is say, maybe you shouldn't be hitting the weed pen like right after waking up. And then people in chat say, don't you drink coffee right after waking up? Yes, I do. I don't know what the fuck that has to do with your weed addiction. I don't know why. You know, I say you are dissolved if you drink Diet Cola early in the morning, which is correct. And you're like, well, you drink coffee. Yeah, coffee is made for the morning, dumbass. I'm not talking about its health benefits. Just trying to keep you guys real. Smelanie, thank you for the $5. Merry Christmas. I got a sweatshirt of the late King Oliver Hypers. Aww. You really loved him. Love still, you know, present tense. So cute. Just got a sweatshirt myself. That was the thing I got from Buck Mason. Very, very fond of this new line they've done. Also, and you're not going to believe it, Buck Mason has discovered the color red. Shocking. It's like the only red thing in the entire store. Crazy, right? Red 40 got the fashion. You know it. Nah, I like their sweats. I got this one. I got it in green. Very handsome color. That looks very soft. It's super, super soft, yeah. Super, super cozy. Like their quarter zips, too. My understanding is that the original quarter zips were just like this. They were just sweatshirts that had a collar and a quarter zip. You know? They weren't like fucking cashmere, merino wool sweaters or whatever. I think these look quite nice. Oh, anyway, sorry. It's the headache. It distracts me. This is exactly what I mean. What kind of coffee do you drink? I have a double espresso every morning. Well, I have two. One before stream and then one after stream. Or whatever the equivalent is when I'm not streaming. You know, I max out my caffeine consumption. 2 is double? Yeah, so that's 4 espressos in total. Iron Pond, thank you for the $5 again. Vosh and chat, you should all look up pork ojakuri. It's a Georgian dish that's rather simple and very good. Ate it almost every day while I was over there. Gotta say, Georgian cuisine isn't exactly, you know, widely talked about over here in the West. Probably to our detriment. Well, that's just enough pixels to know that this is probably delicious. Here, I gotta get out of here before my headache gets worse. Let me finish reading these dang donos. Jordan I99, thank you for the very kind $20. Hey, Vosh, something that has concerned me is many early socialists felt Reconstruction was a bourgeois revolution and a distraction from labor movements. What do you mean Reconstruction? You mean like fixing up the South? That Reconstruction? I assume that's what you were referring to. Well, a lot of socialists, a lot of early socialists were probably pretty racist. I don't know. I haven't really looked into their reasoning. I mean, in the long run, Reconstruction ended up not working because we didn't commit to it hard enough. So I would have to look into the arguments, but I'm very in favor of Reconstruction even now. You know, I think we should still do that, in my opinion. We need a second one, and we need to commit this time. Yes, sir. All right. I got to read these a little faster because my head's a throbbing. Philip Schwartz, Victorious Gardenosaurus, and Tristan Harris, thank you for the $5 all. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Watch the Megalag video. I have no idea what that is. Asikar Tejan, thank you for the $20. I had to convince my local doctors that I did in fact have an umbilical hernia, and even after that, it took me going to a specialist myself without a referral to get the surgery to have it fixed. Jesus, I'm really sorry to hear that. Over a fucking hernia, too. Like, I mean, you'd think they'd have an easy time finding that if they were looking for it. Session Amaru, thank you for the 100 pesos. Vosh is right. Got a doctor who claimed my sciatic nerve was due to AIDS, told his live students to not be gay, and to give me super hard antibiotics with no test. 9 people died on his watch that week? Okay, wait, that sounds like... You're giving me pesos. Is this a Mexico thing? That's 9 people? That can't be right. 9 people in 1 week? That can't be right. That can't be right. That's an exaggeration. That's a comedic overstatement. Tony Ryan, I'm afraid, at least to my memory, I do not know who Dark Matter 2525 is on YouTube. Tyler Kerr, thank you for the very kind $10. Really appreciate that. SSJ Goku, thank you for the 2 $5 donos. GF went to the doctor for a bunch of symptoms. They came from nowhere, and the doctor gave her a pill for each one instead of trying to find the reason. Oh my God. I made them give her a kidney ultrasound. Stage 1 cancer. Jesus fucking Christ. Dark Matter put out a great video yesterday. Then it might just, I might not have the... Oh, somebody said I followed Dark Matter on Twitter? Okay, then I probably just need to see the profile picture rather than the name. Why do you say all doctors are sociopaths? I'm being radicalized by the content of the donations people are sending me. To the Chickens, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Question, since Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, all social spending to boomers, make up 60% of government spending, is the US a socialist state? Well, tragically, well, for one, it's not making up 60% of government spending for real. But also, tragically, that spending comes in the form of us giving money to insurance companies. So, no, it's really just a government handout to those companies. Not really socialism. If anything, you could think of our tax scheme as a system for funneling money from regular taxpayers into those insurance companies, if you'd like. Neutron John, thank you for the $5 and the kind words. Endeavor DMB, thank you for the buck. John, thank you for the $10. The hatred of Muslims, Syrian refugees, and black Haitians/Somalis is reaching a boiling point for MAGA. Will they actually put people in camps, or is it just rhetoric? Just rhetoric. We know that for a fact now. It's just rhetoric. They just need a constant rotating villain of the week to distract people from the fact that everything is getting worse and they're not actually doing anything. People's lives will be ruined over it, but no, there is no momentum or energy for a total reorganization of society over any of these imagined bigotries. Andrew Leisure, thank you for the $5. Julio A. Rodriguez, thank you very, very much for the $20. Very kind of you. V Venture, thank you for the £5. Bogo Finland, thank you for the €10. Longtime lurker, paying for my free political education. TY for all the great content. I just want to produce more of it, man. It's just so difficult to stream with the chronic headaches and the cough, you know? I only can stream on the good days, basically. Robert Field, thanks the $5. Ranting about the economy is going to spike your cortisol? Fuck, yeah, it is. It already has. Eliminator 227, thank you for the super kind $20. Feel better, bud? Found out I'm anemic after losing 100 pounds. Wow, congratulations. Happy New Year's, you're killing it. Thank you, thank you. But also, congratulations, goddamn. Well, anemia is easy enough to fix, so, get on that. But goddamn, 100 pounds. That's not easy to do at all. Much harder than fixing anemia. Sheesh. All right, guys. Well, I need to go take some Excedrin or whatever. In my wildest and most optimistic fantasies, I envision myself streaming tomorrow. But, who knows? We'll fix it eventually. Everyone take care. Happy New Year. And we'll deal with more bullshit either tomorrow or next year. Either way.